Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Reconnected. It's Thursday night, and back with the wonderful Jim Tudor, all alone this time, so we get to give him all the attention. How we doing, Jim?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel personally I'm doing fine. I'm going to be okay. But the last couple weeks, it put us all on edge a little bit. So I'm feeling a little, it's that, it's that balance,
Right.
between we're gonna be fine. We're gonna right. We're gonna be. Are we gonna be fine? And oh no, existential terror.
Yeah.
It like plagues that nags in the back of our head. But you know, yeah. How are you?
I'm floating back and forth between there and complete manic stupor, it feels like.
Manic
Uh,
stupor. You
yeah.
don't say.
Yeah. Living in a house with two special needs kids when you
Hmm.
have all the schedules in the world to try to hold yourself to
Yeah.
is a real fun time.
Yeah. No. I hear you. You're pulled in two very important directions. But don't forget that family's a little more important.
That's why they get all the attention.
Yeah. It's hard for people like us sometimes though to remember that.
Absolutely. It's also an important time for movie fans. We got, award season coming up. We've got big films coming out for critics, which means you're busy this time of year.
Yes, I am in a local film critics guild, the St. Louis Film Critics Organization, and I'm in fact the president of that group. I became president of that group in 2016, and my term has to be up by now. It has to be. But nobody ever taps me on the shoulder and says it's over. In fact, I feel like I'm finally reaching the point where I know how to do the job, how to be the president of a film critic and what that means. And honestly, what it means is keeping some of the more eccentric members in check, who tend to occasionally have rude outbursts with studio representatives and things like that, and then we got to do some smoothing over. And the other thing is just advocating for film critics to get access to movies, which is not the cakewalk it used to be. It used to be we got access to everything ahead of time, and you'd get reviews ahead of time. And now the studios are buckling down, and we're not getting access to things. Like we had to fight for access to the first Joker a few years ago, and we got it. Early access.
Right.
And then we did not get access to things like Furiosa and Joker Folie à Deux. So it's that's Warner Brothers for you now, under the Zaslav regime.
Well, and just so everybody's aware, how early is early access for critics? Like, what do you want, and what are they giving you lately?
What we want is about a week. Most film preview screenings are a week. A lot of times,
Nothing.
The general public is in there with them. Like for people your age and older probably will remember just tuning into the radio. Right. And they'll be, hey, win passes to see an early screening of A Perfect Storm, or whatever. And then you call in and you win, and what you win is a pass, not a ticket. So you have to get there early and get in line, is what we always used to have to do. And then if you're lucky, you get into the auditorium, you get a seat, and the last few rows are always cordoned off. And it's like, what's going on here? Why can't we? No, those are for the critics. Right. Well, now I'm on the other side of that. I get the reserved seats. I don't have to wait in that line anymore because I am a critic. So, yay. And it is Film Critics Award season.
Right.
The way award seasons work, for those who don't know, is Film Critic Award season runs about 7 months. It's a 7-month season. and it begins in late summer with the festivals. You have festival award season, and these movies start to appear, and they start to get buzz, and people with their ear to the to the news here. Oh, that movie sounds interesting, and they like that over in Venice or whatever. And then it's Film Critics Award season, and we have our turn, and the momentum continues through. Then the guilds have their awards that lead up to the Oscars, and then it's finally over, just on time for it to start all over again, really. So anyway, we're part of that machine, and the St. Louis Film Critics is one of many regional film critic groups. Fortunate enough to, what we've got now is a lot of. This is the time of the year, because it's Film Critic Award season, that the studios need us.
Right.
Whereas the rest of the year they push us away, like I was just explaining about Warner Brothers and other studios too. Pushing us away. We don't need you. We don't need you guys to come in here and do your critic thing. So I don't know. It's doing the critic thing is something that I realized in my life that I can't not do.
Right.
Writing about films is something that, in all the other avenues of my life, I always ended up coming back to, like typing on my phone notes and thoughts, and wishing that I could get up in front of people and lead a discussion or something, So now that's what I do.
And it has to be fun. Speaking of St. Louis, we happen to notice that we are both in the state of Missouri, which is why tonight, after our announcements, we are covering films of Missouri, which, as you'll find out as we discuss, was not as easy as we both thought it was going to be.
No. I suggested this topic and almost immediately regretted it. I knew it sounded lame. Movies about Missouri. We're from Missouri, so movies about Missouri. Now, the truth of the matter is there's some pretty interesting stuff that, storytellers and filmmakers decide to, for whatever reason, nuzzle smack in the middle of America. And that's where we are. We're smack in the middle. And that represents something. So maybe we'll get into that. I don't know. Or not. Maybe we'll just pick a bunch of stupid movies and that'll be it.
We'll absolutely discuss, and
Yes.
we'll have to throw out things like Ernest Scared Stupid just to discuss. But other than that, it'll be a fun night. We had a lot to cover tonight. Lots of interesting things that we're going to talk about along the way. But our first couple topics, as usual, we usually talk about recent watches and pickups. Before we get into those, as a critic, what are you hyped about this year? What are top 3 for you so far?
Ooh, well, we just had the St. Louis International Film Festival, which was a big deal every year. That runs for 10 days. And, this year they did a good job of bringing in a lot of big studio festival movies. And I got to see The Brutalist, which is, the Adrian Brody film that's 4 hours long and getting a lot of early awards buzz.
Yep.
The next night was September 5, which was an interesting one. That one's controversial. I don't know if you know about this film. It's
barely heard a little bit about it, but not much.
Yeah. It's part of the awards consideration. It's hustling for awards, the whole awards movie thing is, kind of separate from the summer blockbusters and that sort of thing, where, they treat these movies a little differently because they are angling for prestige reception. And, sometimes they deserve that and sometimes they don't. And September 5 is about the 1972 Munich Olympics. And when, the Israeli athletes were kidnapped by these masked invaders and, kidnapped. So the fact that movie's opening now is turning some heads and making some people scratch their chins skeptically. Like, what are we saying, with the Israel-Palestinian conflict going on? Why now? Especially in light of the, people say, well, that cost Kamala Harris the election. you know.
Right, right.
So there's that sort of thinking here that's in play. And yet the movie really isn't about that. The movie's about the journalists that are over there covering the Olympic Games for ABC News. And they're all of a sudden thrust into this situation of having to cover this kidnapping. So, that's what the movie's really about. It's about the journalistic ethics of the thing. The fact that it's taking place around this controversial subject matter is its own thing. So, that's another thing that, people have to parse along the way here as we make our way to, the Oscars. And I'm somebody who says the Oscars matter. I know the Oscars are stupid. It's a horse race. All the awards are horse races, really. But the purpose that they serve, I think outweighs, the purpose being that, we're on some level democratizing, filmmaking by honoring all those crafts in the short films, right? That's important. That needs to stay part of the Oscars. The Oscars needs to stay a long ass show because that means democratizing the system as much as possible in the midst of all this glamour and red carpet and nonsense, but it also gives us a very fine, pulse on the industry too.
Right.
So, it's, I'm an Oscar skeptic, but I'll ultimately say it matters. So anyway, what were we talking about?
You dodged the question entirely. Top
Ask me
three
again.
of the year so far. How are you feeling? Top 3 of the year.
Oh, good Lord.
I know you're not ranking yet, but like 3 that you're hyped about at the moment.
I just want to talk about that other stuff instead. No. Okay. Top 3 that I'm hyped about. Here's the movie that I want everybody to go see. Seed of the Sacred Fig, out of Iran. It sounds like a very kind of maybe dull, very homeworky kind of movie. It's not. When this movie ended, everybody was on the edge of their seat. It's a friend of mine describes it as Kurosawa's Stray Dog meets The Shining. Okay, with the contemporary political unrest in Iran thrown in as the impetus for what happens within this family that frays. It's about a family. They're living in Iran. The dad is working for the man, and as a judge punishing protesters, and the daughters are sympathetic to the protesters, and things unravel. Things unravel in a tense and palpable way, and it's just made so well. It's a surprise of a movie. So yeah, that's called Seed of the Sacred Fig. Maybe not the best title to lure in American audiences, but I'm just telling you guys, that's been my favorite for a while. Civil War from earlier in the year I thought was very poignant and very good. Good movie there. And what else? That September 5 is good. That's why I probably brought it up. I'm in favor of it.
Sounds like you like journalism movies.
Huh?
Sounds like you like journalism movies. September 5, Civil War.
Oh, and Civil War?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pigeonholed.
Already, just like that.
I'm pigeonholed. Get me out of this pigeonhole. No, I what else is good? I don't know. I watched Anora this week, and I was not as over the moon about it as everybody else. I like it, but I don't. I like other Sean Baker stuff better. I'm a fan of what he does, but this one, I think by the time I got to it, it may have been a little overhyped. I'm not looking forward to Wicked. I just don't. I don't know. The Wicked Witch of the West origin story, and I've never seen the musical. I'm just not
familiar. It's a 2-part film too.
Yeah, it's a 2-part film, and I'm not excited. I don't know anything about it. I'm not. I don't know the songs, but anyway, I said the poster to me, the commercials, these ads that are just incessant, looks like an Easter basket full of that pink Easter grass, and that green Easter grass got dumped over onto a light bulb. that's shining through everything, this bright backlight weird light, and it's just garish looking to me and very CGI, which I'm not opposed to CGI, but I don't know. So yeah, what are you excited about?
I'm really excited about The Brutalist. Everything I've heard about it makes it sound like it's going to be right up my alley.
It's very There Will Be Blood. If you like There Will Be Blood by Paul Thomas Anderson, you'll like the Brutalist probably.
I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, it's a net gold.
I still have not been able to see Heretic. That's one I'm definitely excited about.
Interesting movie. I reviewed that for Zeke Film, my site.
Link is in the description. Go to Zeke Film, read it.
Yeah. Check it out. And yeah, I don't know. We're running up to the end of the year, so I don't know what else is good. I'm not sure. I saw a weird movie last night. It was called Better Man, about the singer Robbie Williams.
Yeah,
you know about this?
I've heard about it. Yeah,
Robbie Williams musician biopic, which we need another musician biopic like a hole in the skull, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Juror Number 2 and Wild Robot, they say. Deaf Crocodile likes that. There you go, guys. There's your scoop. Juror Number 2 and Wild Robot coming to Deaf Crocodile. No, just kidding. I haven't seen either of those movies, honestly. Juror Number 2 or Wild Robot.
Wild Robot looks really good.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to finally getting to see it. Need to catch up. Yeah. Anyway, Better Man is they make him into a chimpanzee. And why? It's so weird. It's not good weird. It's just like, I don't know. I found myself very distracted by Robbie Williams as a chimpanzee in Better Man.
I wonder why.
Well, just thinking things like, when I'm supposed to be caught up in the biopic drama of his substance abuse and his struggles with his father and all this, I'm sitting there just thinking things that, I'm not supposed to be thinking, like, does he have a tail? What do his feet look like? Could he move through trees like that? Because he's got a chimpanzee head and fur on his body, but he stands upright like a human being. He doesn't have the posture of a simian, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's like every time in the future when anybody wants to use a clip of this movie, and it's directed by the guy who made like The Greatest Showman, so it's got some pretty good musical numbers in it surrounding all this dreck, and every time somebody shows a clip of one of those musical numbers, for any reason in the future, there has to be this obligatory setup that, and by the way, Robbie Williams is a chimpanzee in this movie. Okay, roll the clip. It's like, it can't have a future because of this. It's such a weird choice. How many millions of dollars did they add to the budget to make Robbie Williams a chimp?
It's a good question. I would love to hear that exact number.
Would you?
Recent watches for me, I finally got to see Cuckoo from this year. Did you see that one?
No. Is it good?
It's definitely style over substance, which can work sometimes, but I wanted just a touch more substance. They lost a little bit of the plot too far, I think, into the style side. I liked it, but I wanted more out of it. Especially the marketing looked really great for it, and then it just did not meet what it was hyping up.
We had a critic at Zeke Film who went and saw it to review it for the site and came back and said, I don't really like it very much. I'd rather just review something else. And so that's, we didn't cover it. I don't know. Maybe I'll see it. Maybe I won't.
And then an old time watch, finally watched the 4K that just came out of Addams Family Values, and just reiterated how perfect of a film that is. I think it's better than the first one. It is so much damn fun. Perfect cast. Love that movie.
But okay, I know you're of the age where there's some nostalgia about this sort of thing. I was in college when the first Addams Family came out. It was like, I was like, this. I don't know. Maybe I need to check it out again, but I kind of dismissed it back then as style over substance. It's a big production design triumph, is what that is.
Huge.
Yeah, with the MC Hammer thrown in for good measure. I don't, I don't know. And I did not see Adam's Family Values, so I can't.
It is better than the first one. I will say that for sure.
And it's the reason the 4K UHD was invented.
That's
So we can
the only reason.
really have these movies pop. That
Thank goodness.
give new life to these movies that maybe kind of need it, like that one.
Well, we are here for physical media usually. What kind of pickups you got recently?
Let's see, Ryan. I've got here some great pickups. Really good. These are my. I like to share the wealth among the boutique labels and the boutique label, retailers. So I picked these up from Diabolic. I've been buying the Deaf Crocodile special editions, like two at a time as I'm able. So I got the first
Right.
two, and then I just was able to order these two. Very, very excited to get into these, especially this one. Chamala, is it Jamala or Tamala? Somebody.
Tamala.
Tamala. Oh, good Lord. All right.
That's a beautiful movie.
I've read it. It's yes. I teach history of animation. So this is a very justified purchase. And I know there's a lot more on the way from these folks. And I'm excited about it. Excited to the point of maybe subscribing, which I don't know that I'll be able to do. Because it's a great deal, but it's also $300.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So it's kind of this, I don't know that I can get that past the wife, honestly. Even though buying these individually is probably a little more expensive,
a little pricier
in the long run, but I can sneak that through. So yeah, I know there's a lot more animation coming. I mean, I saw the list. Deaf Crocodile. I saw the list. Another animation title that's very important. Yeah, I got the Primeval's regular old 3-pack here that they put on sale at Full Moon. What is going on here? There we go. I'm fighting the glare. They put this on sale last week, was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I have to get it. It's I regretted not buying the fancy pack.
Yeah, and there's been a couple. Full Moon did their own, and Umbrella did that big crazy package for it. Yeah. But just the story behind it is so important and so cool.
I had a student write a paper about the 3 lost animated classics. Primevals was one of them back then. This is just a few years ago. Mad God by Phil Tippett was another. And I honestly don't remember the other one right now. But anyway,
now we got 2 of them out there.
Seems like maybe we might even have all 3, but I can't remember the third, so forgive me. Okay. Criterion sent me Paper Moon. I'm excited to watch this. I will be reviewing this for Screen Anarchy, a website I contribute to. ScreenAnarchy.com. I've been a contributor there since 2005. I think I'm actually the longest contributor.
Wow.
To still be there, even though all I do anymore is Criterion reviews there. Reviewing new release theatricals used to be my beat, but that was a long time ago, and that became a bit of a hustle. Picked this up from my local store, Nickel Flicks. Part of the big new assortment that they've got coming in there. That is a very impressive. This is The Farmer, for anybody who can't see it. I've heard folks talk about this movie just being a good, fun, drive-in exploitation, trash romp, which every now and then hits the spot.
Right.
So I don't know. Have you seen this?
I have. I saw it right after Scorpion released it. After the hype from Dark Force and Code Red and all that for years of someday we'll put out the Fama, it it somehow didn't live up to this amazing unseen movie legacy that it had. However, it wasn't bad. It was a good movie.
I spent $20 on this, and it's in a slipcase. It's in another case besides that,
Yep.
Which didn't come with it. I'm sure the owner before me put it in this. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like a fun find. And then let's see, was it 2 nights ago? I was supposed to go to the press screening of Gladiator 2 for Film Critics, and I skipped that because I promised my daughter that we would go to this special event that was in St. Louis, Fritz Lang's Metropolis, 1927 silent sci-fi epic, performed with a live in the theater heavy metal score, and we had to go.
I was so jealous when you posted this.
My daughter Grace is a film buff too. She's 16, and of my 4 kids, I have 4 kids here, and a cat and a dog and a wife. And of all of them, she's the only film buff. So she was like, "We have to go," and I was like, "All right, I guess I'm missing Gladiator 2," which it sounds like I made the right choice. In fact, I know I did because it was awesome. And I bought from the merch table their Blu-ray. I bet this is one you've never covered on the show, Ryan.
It is not.
This is Faust. It's a something they made. This is you have to buy this from the band, and the band is called Silent Light. And you can go to silentlightmusic.com, and what they do is the guy analyzes and does scene analysis of these old silent films, like Murnau's Faust, which I have right here, and Fritz Lang's Metropolis. And he said that the one that they hope to do next year and tour with is Passion of Joan of Arc by Dreyer, which would be a great one for them to get their treatment. So anyway, I went ahead. I wanted to support these guys. I bought their Faust Blu-ray, which he said he pulled down off Wikipedia Commons. I think that the transfer is probably nothing tremendously special. Right. Maybe I'll be surprised, but it's their music over it. And these sorts of experiences are just so great, you guys. Anyway, it's the Silent Light is the band, and they do have a website, and you can see clips there. So go to the Silent Light, or not the Silent Light, just silentlightmusic.com, and you can see what I'm talking about.
It's a pretty good website. Just checked it out while you were talking, yeah.
And now finally, I don't know what this is, but I was blowing off steam the day after the election, and I bought at the Grindhouse Video was having a sale on DVDs for like $2, like buy one get one free. For like, it ends up being $2. And this is something called Cosplay Fetish Battle Drones, a Power Rangers ripoff of, I don't know. And I'm just like, this is how I'm going to blow off steam, and it's like, I can't believe what happened. I'm going to buy crappy movies. And next thing I know, it shows up and I'm like, what? Okay. So now I have Cosplay Fetish Battle Drones on DVD, everyone. If anyone's seen this, let me know. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Power Rangers porn, they ask. I don't think so. Is it? I don't think it's actually
with the word cosplay fetish. I mean,
maybe. Oh well. So that's that. What else that's my pickups. I've got way more I could tell you about, but I'm sure we've got better things to do.
Well, I've got 4. I will say I just opened this. Got this like 5 days ago. This is a trade from one Craig Rogers, Deaf Crocodile in the chat. I'm the bad friend who just sent out his today, but he'll get that soon. Branded to Kill in 4K from Criterion. He made the mistake of ordering it twice, so thanks for that, Craig. I appreciate that. Hope you enjoy what I'm sending you. One that I was flabbergasted at the pricing, which we're going to do a show soon on some pricing things that are going on in the boutique world. And, well, you know what? Less the boutique world and more the studio world. I liked Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, and I'd been interested in getting the new 4K Steelbook that got announced, and it's a really nice Steelbook, but for the longest time, it wasn't going under $45. I'm sorry. Eli Roth Thanksgiving is not a $45 movie. No matter how nice the Steelbook is, I was not going to pay almost $50 for Eli Roth Thanksgiving. It was on sale for Black Friday through Walmart and got it for just a hair over $20. That's the right price, and I'm happy with that. Review copies, though, imprints coming in clutch with two that I have been eagerly awaiting for the last, 90 days. The first one, Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria in 4K, one of their fancy 4K hard box releases. Take off the lid, and we've got the 4K case and a Blu-ray case. And as usual, when they're doing one of these fancy ones, they've got poster, booklet, fanciness all in here. But I'm most excited about some features on here. There's a making of audio commentary with Miranda Corcoran on here. There is a second Blu-ray disc with a visual essay by David Polisi, a visual essay by Alexander Heller-Nicholas, another visual essay by Philip Jeffries. Like, there's so much in this that I'm dying to see. This is going to be a full day worth of viewing because, yes, the 4K is a big deal. However, all of the extras on this is what really makes it special.
And the movie's 2 hours and 45 minutes. So there's
a full day. Right?
I wasn't blown away by that movie when I saw it in the theater, but I'd buy that if I were, if the deal were good enough, just because, I, like so many of you, are a sucker for this sort of a package. And if those extras can enlighten me, I'd like to be enlightened about something like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to see, by the way, Goblin on Saturday. They speaking of Suspiria and the original Suspiria, the band Goblin will be here in St. Louis, and I bought tickets. And again, my daughter Grace and I are going to see them. And I'm not sure why the Goblin concert begins at 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
I call that a win.
Has anybody actually been to a Goblin show? I'm curious because is it that long? Is it, you've been to one?
I went to the live playing with Suspiria here in Kansas City.
Do they play for 6 hours or what?
No, not at all. No.
Okay. I thought I read about when they were doing Suspiria, and that came through St. Louis as well, and I didn't go because it was standing room only, and I didn't want to stand up all night. My feet were hurting in that month or whatever, and I just didn't want to be in that situation. So I old guyed out, and I didn't go. But this time I decided I'm going to do it. We're not going to have many more opportunities to see Goblin, I assume. What was that comment?
I love this comment. 4 p.m. music concert. Don't be surprised if it's a trap situation.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The cosplay fetish battle drones, if anybody's interested, it's on Tubi right now.
Words I didn't expect to type tonight. I could have saved $2. Of course, maybe I will have to watch it on Tubi because the way I threw it over my shoulder, it's over there now. And I don't know if you can tell what kind of junk pile I've got going here, but I don't think I'm going to be finding that for several years. So
when Goblin played here, they did Suspiria, and then after that, they maybe played maybe 35, 40 minutes after that. And that's
okay. Well, I was able to get two chairs this time, and it was only $5 more. So I got the chairs to sit in instead of standing all night. So I was like, if they're starting at 4, Goblin, these guys are no spring chickens.
No.
They're I'm thinking, okay, it's either a time zone thing or it's a logistical thing.
That's probably more likely. There's probably another event afterwards.
Yeah, or they really do go that long. They're going like Springsteen level,
17 encores.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll post my Goblin pictures and review after the show on Saturday or Sunday morning. I'll post them on Facebook for people that want to go find me there. And also I'm on the Blue Sky. We'll start using that too.
So the last thing I'm going to talk about this week, everybody's talking about that gorgeous release of the Blair Witch Project that Second Sight put out. Tons of extras, great booklets, and all that stuff. I, though, was also very excited for the imprint release of the Blair Witch Project collection, which includes, for the first time on legal Blu-ray, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Right.
And I am dying to rewatch that. It's been quite some time.
Mhm.
And again, it's not often we get a film like Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2 with contextual extras in a nice hard box release. Two cases, lots going on, new extras for Book of Shadows. Like, this is great, and it's also a completely different release than the Second Sight of the first film. There are other extras on here that are not on the Second Sight release. This is not like the authorized version of Blair Witch Project. The producers and all that worked with Second Sight. They did not with imprint. This was just licensed to imprint. However, I'm stoked on watching Book of Shadows. It's been a long time.
My DVD copy of Book of Shadows was stolen by a babysitter like 16 years ago, and I've never gotten another. I've never been able to come across another one.
Right.
I don't love the movie, but I didn't hate it at all. It was interesting, considering this is not the sequel you would expect.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to call out before we get into our announcements for the week, friend?
Oh, heck, I don't know. I think let's do the announcements because unless you want me to talk about that movie September 5 a little longer, I could do that. But I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into it then. We're going to start with one of the Severance sale announcements, which is covering Hell of the Living Dead, a.k.a. Virus, a.k.a. Zombie Creeping Flesh, a.k.a. like 3 other alternate titles. This is coming on 4K during their Black Friday sale. This is from 1980. Another one that has gotten a few releases in the past, and this will now be the definitive edition of this movie. It's going to be a 3-disc release. We got the 4K, a Blu-ray with the film, and a bunch of extras, whole bunch of interviews, location tour, all that kind of fun stuff, and the soundtrack CD. This is a solid-looking release of this.
Bruno Mattei, huh?
Oh, yes.
I have not seen this movie.
It is good. It's upper tier. It's upper tier, Bruno. It's not his best, but it's upper tier.
Okay. Well, maybe down the road. Down the road, it will be mine.
Let's keep going. Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 coming to Blu-ray on December 31st. You just know if you're watching this, there has to be a complete series Blu-ray around the corner. Something coming along for this. I've never watched Yellowstone. Is that something you've watched?
No, I don't really have access to it. I don't have time to watch TV shows because I'm too busy watching movies. Even TV shows that I want to watch,
right.
Oftentimes I just don't have the wherewithal to do it. This show, from what I hear, sounds like the kind of thing that's just created to be, a catnip for someone like me who likes Western iconography and appreciates that in my films when it's done right and not done panderingly. I can't tell if this is a pandering show or not. I don't know exactly who it's for, but people say it's pretty good. I don't know. Is it?
I mean, from what I hear, it's very like dad rock, but that doesn't make it a bad thing necessarily.
I'm 51 years old, father of 4.
Exactly.
Hello, dad rock guy here.
Did you watch Horizon Part 1 this year?
Yeah, I did.
That didn't sound very positive.
I sat through that. Yeah, I did. Oh God, I was extremely underwhelmed.
The idea of announcing that you're going to do a 4-part film in 4 films is a wild endeavor. It sucks that it did not do well, and the last 3 are probably going to either cease to exist after the second one or languish on streaming or something. But
right,
yeah,
It does suck. I'm with you. I'd like to see this thing get done just because I feel like, well, maybe eventually there's a payoff in all this. But man, that first one, a lot of folks have said Horizon Part 1 is a part one of a TV series, really, or a mini series. It's not really a movie unto itself. Yeah, so I don't know. Was Horizon the event? Was it the event Horizon we wanted? No. Yeah, and Yellowstone, I've never seen 1 minute of it.
I like Taylor Sheridan stuff though, so I'll still check it out someday. Who knows? Elvira's Haunted Hills getting a blue release in the UK from 101 Films. This is coming on December 2nd. As far as extras and all that, nothing new if you've got some of the other releases of this movie, but I don't believe this has had a UK release on Blu-ray before, so that's a good choice.
There's an extra on here called Transylvania or Bust. Why would they call it that? Let's see. Interview with Richard O'Brien, the Rocky Horror guy. What? He's involved, huh? He's involved with this?
I believe he is, yeah.
What do you know? Okay. All right.
Next up, The Lords of Flatbush, coming to Blu-ray, I believe for the first time ever, from Sony on December 31st. This is with the one and only Henry Winkler and Sylvester Stallone, plus Perry King and a handful of others. This supposedly is what led into Happy Days.
It's got Rocky and it's got the fonts, but Perry King gets top billing.
He sure does.
Yeah, Lords of Flatbush. This is Sha-na-na.
I've never seen this, and this one has supposedly been pretty difficult to see, actually.
And which label is this? Just Sony?
Sony Pictures, yeah, doing it proper. I'm sure it'll be a great restoration then.
Great. Bring it.
Next up, Beyond the Wasteland, coming from Wellgo USA, who has been doing great with modern films that seem to go out of nowhere, either from streaming or festivals, and then disappear for pretty much ever. January 7th, this is getting that Blu-ray release. This is supposed to be pretty good. It says, deep in a secluded forest, Marco lives in isolation under the watchful eye of his overprotective father, who is determined to keep his young son safe from the evil ones. And they capitalized evil ones in the copy. Deeply lonely and increasingly curious about the outside world, Marco yearns to uncover the secrets of life beyond the forest and begins venturing further from home. But after a cruel turn of events grants his wish sooner than he ever imagined, Marco is forced to flee and embark on a grim journey filled with unknown dangers and a glimpse into a world forever changed.
You know, for years, I made the mistake of dismissing Wellgo as among the ranks of Mill Creek.
Yep.
And Echo Bridge, or even, these sorts of labels. And too late. Not too late, but later than I should have picked up on. I realize what you're saying, that yes, these guys are doing the Lord's work of salvaging very interesting movies.
Yep.
And they're not hyping them because they're Wellgo, they're not Warner Brothers. But this stuff makes it out here. And that's great. That's so cool. So this one's Beyond the Wasteland.
Yep. And this is not the last Wellgo we're talking about tonight. So we will have some more in just a bit.
Okay, I'll do that whole speech over again then.
January 28th, we are getting Teacher's Pet from Kino on Blu-ray. This is with Clark Gable and Doris Day. Coming with a new audio commentary by Julie Kurgo and Peter Henkoff. One that has eluded me because I genuinely don't like most films from the 1950s.
Okay. Cold stop here, Ryan.
I knew that was going to light you up, which is why the only reason I said it.
Did you know? Yeah, when asked what is the greatest decade of movies, my answer is in fact the 1950s.
That's too bad.
No, that's good. The 1950s is with the 1970s is a very close second, and every decade is rich. Let's just get that
I will agree there.
out of the way. Every decade is rich. In fact, every year is rich. People that complain that any given movie year that is just wrapping up or whatever is not a great movie year, well, they're just not paying attention, because there's always,
True.
some stuff that is there. It might be, seed of the sacred fig or whatever lurking, off in the margins for you, but it's there. This Teacher's Pet, we're looking at, I'm not the biggest Clark Gable fan, especially late Clark Gable, but we've got Doris Day and Mamie Van Doren in the same movie. That right there. Doris Day's a fascinating study. I do lecture on her, and in the spring I'll be doing a class at Webster University, teaching a class on the history of film comedy, and I'm eating stuff like this up.
Right.
These 1950s movies. The reason I claim 1950s is the greatest decade is because of the tension, the cultural tension that lies within them. The decade of the 50s itself, of course, is one of perhaps the worst in American 20th century history. The 50s are bad, but the 50s movies and music and beat poetry in that is so rich. And the reason is because it's pushing back. It's pushing back, and you get stuff like psychological westerns and UPA animation and, Hammer horror, and things are happening, and then Ingmar Bergman and Akira Kurosawa, and things are blowing up, and then you get to the 60s and it finally blows up, right? But it's that subtle push in the 50s, man. That's good movie culture right there. So that's my argument, Ryan. That's why the 50s are the greatest decade, and there's a lot more where that came from.
I had to light the fuse for you. I'm sorry. But
No,
what's
don't be
great?
sorry. You gave me a soapbox, and I took over your show with my rant. So you're welcome.
Well, now you can repeat it, because our next announcement is from the exact same year, Houseboat from 1958, also coming from Kino, also on January 28th. This one with Cary Grant and Sophia Loren.
Who directed this? Let's see. I'm trying to. This type.
Shavelson.
What? Shavelson directed
That's
this?
what it says, yeah.
Shavelson. Well, I'm not a Shavelson.
He also did The Five Pennies.
Oh, did he now? Okay, well, anyway, Ryan, the 1950s are the best decade of movies because never mind. I'll get this too, but that other one looked better. The Teacher's Pet is more of interest, but Cary Grant and Sophia Loren in her prime here. This could be something. How are the extras?
Same exact as our last one. We got a new audio commentary with Julie Kurgo and Peter Hankoff, and that is it. Of course,
Okay.
trailers.
All right.
But
all right. Well, good for them. They are good commentators for this sort of thing.
Oh man, comment section is on fire tonight, and I love it. Kino giving us.
What are they saying? I'm not paying attention to them. I should. How do I get that?
The 5 pennies, aka the nickel. On the right-hand side of your screen, if you click on comments, they will show up on your screen, and you can read them as well.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Most weeks I'm not able to be here live. I move things around to, actually be the guest, but most of the time I have to listen to this on the audio replay.
Right.
And I will petition everybody who does show up here. It's helpful to reiterate the titles throughout the conversation about the individual titles, because sometimes you'll say Sea of Love, and then you'll talk about it for 5 minutes, and I'll be like, wait, what are we talking? Anyway.
Good to know. So Sea of Love is this one. It's called Sea of Love.
Yeah.
Sea of Love is from 1989, also coming on January 28th from Kino. This one on 4K, starring Al Pacino, Ellen Barkin, and my man John Goodman here. We've got a new audio commentary by the inseparable trio of Howard S. Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Nathaniel Thompson.
Yes.
There's also an archival commentary by the director, Harold Becker, and some deleted scenes on the Blu-ray disc, and some trailers and whatnot. This is one I've wanted to see for quite some time.
I've seen part of this movie, like when it aired on network television. So of course, whatever part of it I saw was hacked to smithereens, in and of itself and pan and scanned.
Right.
I too have been wanting to see this movie for quite some time. Al Pacino at his yellingest, right? And Ellen Barkin just at her hottest, and John Goodman at his John Goodmanest. I suppose I could say I'm in.
I am absolutely in. This is John Goodman at like the height of young Roseanne. And yeah, can't wait for this.
Fred Flintstone times.
The next one, April Fool's Day, getting its 4K release from Kino on January 21st. Again, new audio commentary from Howard S. Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Nathaniel Thompson. There are some interviews and all that on the Blu-ray disc. I will say, and it's hard to be disappointed on a lot of stuff like this, but earlier, I think it was just this year, because it was around April Fool's Day this year, we got Deborah Foreman announcing this on social media and kind of implying that something was going to happen where she was either involved in special features or there was going to be some new stuff. There's nothing else besides this new commentary, which is great that they're doing it. However, it sort of was like a tease. It seemed like we were going to get something, and this is what we got.
Did something get buried? Like, were extras created that were then nixed or something?
I mean, that's possible. I don't know. If she was...
We don't know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Here, I've got an observation. I'm looking at the cover of this movie, and I love this cover. I've never seen this movie, but I've seen this. I remember this back at the video store on VHS when I was a kid. And I was fascinated by this girl in April Fool's Day, the poster where she's got the noose. Her hair is a noose, and behind her is a knife. That right there is striking. But she's walking into a room to approach a table full of people, and they're all hooping it up and going nuts. What are they hooping it up about? Like the front of her that we're not seeing. What's so exciting about that could top the noose, hair, and dagger that she's about to use on them? What? Why are they so excited already when they can't even see the thing that is the main part of the picture here? You know what I mean?
We don't know, but you should know. It's because the group is going to an island weekend adventure.
Oh, maybe she just announced that they're going on the trip. And they're like, woohoo! Little do they know that this trip will be murder.
What's going on, Garrett? Garrett's here. Yeah, she is toasting, so that's why they're all excited.
Okay. I'm overthinking it. What? No. This is everything is intentional. All the little details that we see on these covers are all intentional. They're trying to signal something to us, right?
Well, and what's funny, she's toasting.
Yeah.
The other girl already has her drink.
Yeah.
His feet are in the champagne. They all have drinks. Is that an umbrella in a champagne glass?
It's an umbrella in a champagne glass, Ryan. I don't know. This party's been going for quite some time, and then it's I think this must be like the 11th toast of the night, and I
mean that means it's a good time. That's why they're
it's March 31st, and the clock is about to change over to April 1, April Fool's Day. Bum bum bum. On 4K, and they are excited. They're losing their minds. They've got their foot in the. Okay. Anyway,
next one. Hey, another 4K re-release from Kino on January 21st. Body Parts, starring Jeff Fahey. This one has nothing new on it. We've got the old audio commentary from Eric Red, the director, and some interviews. Have you ever seen Body Parts?
No, but I've seen the poster. Let's talk about that.
This movie rules. This movie is so much fun.
It's Jeff Fahey, who's in a lot of questionable nonsense, right? I mean, I don't know. It's not something I've ever thought to see. This movie.
This movie is the story of a man who is in a car accident and dies. Somebody Okay, there's a car accident and a guy needs an arm replaced, basically.
Mm.
And he gets an arm from somebody that was recently killed because he was a criminal. And turns out that arm is coming back and attacking things. And all of the body parts from this criminal are trying to come back into one. And it's a weird story, but it's a blast. Super fun.
Well, these things happen. Haunted body
as you
part.
do.
Yes. So I don't know. I'll maybe, if Kino Lorber ever puts it on sale for $17, which they will.
They will, like clockwork.
Maybe this will be one that I will purchase.
Another one they'll put on sale eventually, coming soon from them, is Save the Tiger, starring Jack Lemmon. This is going to be a Blu-ray release, even though it is from a 4K scan of the OCN. This is a title that got an imprint release fairly recently. Good movie.
Is it a good movie? I've not seen this.
It is a good movie. I love Jack Lemmon. This is one that I'm definitely happy to have the imprint version. I think the imprint version was the first Blu-ray of this. So, yeah.
A man older than myself who had seen this movie when it came out told me about it a long time ago. He said that it was a great Jack Lemmon performance, which is, it's Jack Lemmon. He's that's almost to be expected. But then he said it's this rigid old 1950s man or whatever, and he's in the hippie times trying to make sense of the world. And Jack Lemmon plays it so wonderfully. I can't help but notice, according to the poster here for this film, Save the Tiger, his character's name is Harry Stoner.
Yes, Harry a little relatable, Jim.
Harry, is that a little on the nose? I don't know. Harry Stoner, and he's not a stoner, and he's not particularly hairy.
Well, to be fair, Jack's not a lemon either.
Good point.
Going to our next announcement. Kino eventually will be releasing The Lords of Discipline on 4K. This is from 1983. And I am so confused by how they announced this. They say this is from brand new HDR Dolby Vision and UHD SDR masters from 4K scans of the 35mm original camera negative. I've never seen this movie. Have you seen this one? Can you shine a light? Okay.
I'm not familiar at all with the Lords of Discipline.
I'm so confused on why it would have different elements like that.
That's a corker. Maybe they had to mix and match because it's an obscure film.
Potentially.
It's an underrated 80s military movie, someone says. It's I don't know. I'm just looking at this, seeing that, they're in this okay, so I'm guessing the premise here based on the image. For Lords of Discipline, they're in a military school or a military camp of some sort. This character, his head appears as an enormous hologram, and everyone turns their back on him. That's what the movie, that's like probably the climax scene of the movie, and they're spoiling it.
I'm very confused by everything about this. But yeah, curious to see how this looks and see if they will ever explain why it's coming from HDR and UHD SDR masters.
Lords of Discipline is actually quite good, says Stan over here in the chat. He's telling us this is a good movie, Ryan, that we need to buy it during the next Kino sale or just buy it outright.
Even though it won't be on sale yet, because they say coming soon. So that'll be, I don't know, 2.5 years before it gets released.
Yeah, so buy it on their sale in 2 3/4 years from now.
Next up, The Penguin, the Batman follow-up series that got an HBO Max release that just finished, is getting a 4K and Blu-ray release on February 25th. No word on special features or anything like that. However, this got pretty rave reviews across the board for being an excellent little miniseries that they did, which I'm curious now. Supposedly Colin Farrell said he would never do it again, but this got so many great reviews. I'm curious if they'll talk another season out of him.
Yeah, when I say that as a film critic, I don't get to watch shows on TV shows, even ones that I'm interested in. This is the case in point. I wasn't particularly uh, over the moon about the idea of a Penguin TV show until people started saying just how good it was, and
Right.
there was actual buzz about it. So that's quite. I'd buy the 4K just to have it when Max inevitably takes it down from their streaming service for tax purposes, and I'll be able to watch it at some point. The Penguin. Now on the downside, on the picture here, he looks a little like Matt Gaetz. Matt, the 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 disgraced politician, would be attorney general. Doesn't he kind of?
Oh,
help me out here. Come on.
I mean, he's only got about half the forehead and like a third of the nose, but
yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the makeup on the Penguin is better.
My friend's husband edited one of the best episodes of the season. His character was performed. They're having a whole conversation over here without us.
Oh yeah, they always do,
yeah,
and it's always exciting.
Right. It's exciting.
Moving right along. That is this one is for the UK release. This is coming on March 17th in 4K, but they get a fancy steelbook of which you can't see the art because it does not exist yet. And I'm really tired of Warner Brothers doing this. Please go pre-order our product that you cannot know what it looks like, and we're not telling you, but give us money.
On the plus side, no disgrace would-be attorney general artwork.
Well, you don't know that. It could literally be a picture of Matt Gaetz.
Giant eyebrows and his head going, they wouldn't do that, would they? No. The Penguin looks like Margot Robbie compared to Matt Gaetz. Okay, good point. I will concede that, Sibner.
All right.
Artwork to be TBC.
Confirmed.
To be confirmed.
Okay. Hey, you are here for the week of Criterion announcements. So let's talk about how good Punch Drunk Love is.
I reviewed the the Blu-ray release of this several years ago for Screen Anarchy.
And how'd you feel about the film?
I love this movie. I saw it when it came out in 2002 in the theater and liked it then. I was already on board the Paul Thomas Anderson train. Not so much the Adam Sandler train. I was not. I don't know. I wasn't excited about the Adams, even though he was doing his best movies then. That wasn't for me. But the fact that he would turn around and do a movie like this,
right,
was fascinating. And when you get into it here, what Paul Thomas Anderson has done is make an Adam Sandler movie in his way. You know what I mean? It's like he's still this repressed man-child with anger issues.
Right.
But the whole universe of Punch Drunk Love is the Paul Thomas Anderson kind of uncomfortable whimsy of it all. And we've got, Emily Watson over here. And, he just plays this very lonely man. And he's so obsessed about something so silly. I know none of us can relate to that. I'm being sarcastic. He's so obsessed about something so silly, in this case being racking up enough points from a pudding, like
a sweepstakes. Yeah,
the sweepstakes on this packaged pudding that you buy at the grocery store, that if you buy enough of it, you can send in and you win. Anyway, he was just like living his life about that. That was his opportunity. And it's just, there's a sadness and an absurdity about it that just, informs this movie and what it really is. I would say this will lend itself to 4K quite nicely. What do you think?
I like this movie. I don't love this movie. Big fan of Philip Seymour Hoffman, so that's always a plus for me. And
Yes.
shout out to my friend John Daly, who will point out that any film starring Luis Guzman is immediately elevated somehow because he always brings something extra special, and I completely agree he does here.
Can't argue with that.
Did not say anything about the release, so I will say February 4th, this is getting a 4K from Criterion. Once again, though, I think the biggest downside for me is I despise the Criterion 4K upgrades for many reasons. Recycling the same cover, never putting on new extras, and lately at least, their encoding is so much worse than other releases of the same titles. If this was getting I don't know, Arrow release in the UK that was a 4K, I guarantee you the Arrow release would look much better. We're seeing that with Seven Samurai right now. We're seeing that with many of the titles that are getting released elsewhere, also from Criterion. So I don't know. I feel like they are just kind of hunched back on their laurels a little bit and taking it easy. When in all reality, I really wish they would just step it up a little bit. Everybody else has stepped up from Terror Vision to Deaf Crocodile to Arrow to BFI. Everybody is doing what they possibly can to make these releases better. Criterion needs to be doing the same thing.
Yeah, I was a Criterion stan for decades. One of the first DVDs I ever bought when they first invented DVDs in the late 90s was Criterion This Is Spinal Tap. I still have it. It's not
Same.
it's not the first DVD I ever bought, but it is one of them. And boy, I've been with them ever since. But I hear what you're saying, that in recent years, we've got Radiance now, which is kind of the new Criterion in some ways. And all these, the very odd model, which seems to be working, of taking a forgotten trash regional drive-in movie and giving it the Criterion treatment, quote, the old time Criterion treatment with tons of extras and analysis and a booklet. That's what Vinegar Syndrome and so many others have started doing. In some ways is outshining even something like this. Criterion still has those big titles.
They have an incredible library. I will never take that away from them. But when you're the company that pretty much invented and popularized the audio commentary, and you can't get an audio commentary on most of your releases,
I don't know why not.
There's a problem.
Yeah, and they did invent the audio commentary with King Kong. That's a funny story, but I agree with you that maybe putting something or two new on these 4K re-releases. I don't despise them because I see this as an opportunity to get caught up with something like, let's say, Seven Samurai, for instance. I have the DVD of that with the case and all that, but I skipped the Blu-ray, and now I am tempted by the 4K of theirs that it's on sale at Barnes and Noble, and it's not a bad deal. What's the other version of that you just mentioned? That's
Seven Samurai just got released by the BFI in the UK.
Okay, the BFI in the UK.
The BFI has a 60-plus page booklet. It has more extras than Criterion, and it's already been proven to have better encoding than Criterion's.
Okay, this is where I have to out myself again. I did this last time I was on, but I have to say I've yet to get a region-free player. I have a Panasonic that apparently can be hacked. I don't know how to do that because I'm old, but I'm thinking about buying a region-free player. I think it's time. I know it's time. My other player's starting to get a little weird. I'd like to buy something reliable that doesn't break the bank. I'll take your suggestions in the chat.
Well, and the other thing I'll throw out there, the 4K disc is region free, as are 99.2% of 4K discs.
That's a good point, yes.
They are all supposed to be region free, but there's been something like 25 mistakes in the world that have been region locked 4Ks.
Okay. Yeah, I know about that. I've heard you discuss that before, and I do have some overseas 4Ks like Wicker Man box set and Texas Chainsaw Fancy Pants edition. Uh, you know, so yeah, I have gone down this road, but I guess I forgot is what I'm saying.
Like the chat is saying, I say to go to 220-electronics.com
Yeah,
and take a look around, figure out what's fitting your price point, and go from there. It's a great site, super reliable. I think you'll be
yeah.
happy.
I want a tank, I want a Blu-ray 4K playing tank of a machine that doesn't feel like it, weighs a quarter of a pound and is made of cheap plastic. I want something that I know is going to last and is going to serve me well. Um,
Then
because
sadly you got to pay for that though.
exactly, and that's the thing. I'm going to save up and do it though. I've looked at the Panasonic UB820, which is also recommended. But that may be it. It might not be. I don't know. Anyway, keep it coming, folks. I appreciate it. I'm looking at your suggestions.
This was a fun diatribe surrounding Punch Drunk Love. You can buy that on 4K on February 4th, and go into the next one is a fairly big title that made a lot of people very happy. Godard's King Lear coming on February 11th on Blu-ray and DVD. One I have never seen. This one has an audio recording of the 1987 Cannes Film Festival press conference with Godard, new interviews with Richard Brody, and actor and co-screenwriter Peter Sellers, and then an essay by Brody as well.
Not that Peter Sellers.
Right. It's spelled with an A and not an E.
Right. This is a different Peter Sellers. Peter Sellars. This has been one of the most obscure, most difficult Godard titles to see, to my knowledge. This has only been available on like archive.org on the internet, right?
Yep.
You could find it there. But other than that, no, this is a big deal to come to Criterion, if only because it's a Godard film that's eluded so many of us, and Molly Ringwald is in it. This is a rare English language Godard film.
Yep.
Now, how closely it sticks to the King Lear story, I suspect probably not too close. But and I suspect also it's being like Godard in 1987. Is he using video for this? I mean, why is this only on Blu-ray? Because Criterion's been making a point of going 4K heavy lately on almost everything all of a sudden, but not this. I wonder why that is.
It is only a 2K restoration, but unfortunately, that's the only information we get. So I'm not sure what it was filmed on. I really wish we would get more information pretty much from every label about the elements that they're using and who did the restoration and such.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's absolutely a great drum you've been beating. I appreciate that. But Criterion does, in the booklets, they always kind of say,
generally,
they've always done that, go through and say, well, we used the 16 millimeter this and a telecine over here and that and this and this, and scraped away thousands of instances of dirt and mud and specks and footprints. And they're not doing that up front, is I think what you're saying.
That's what I'm getting at. While true, you have to buy it to figure that out, which is the exact opposite of what we all want.
Yeah. So anyway, but all that to say, I'll still get this. I'm excited. Godard fascinates me and drives me up the wall all at the same time. It's what we want. Confounding, head-scratching, iconoclast filmmakers are not so easy to come by anymore. And his death was a loss in only that way. Sometimes these Godard films are the greatest tests of one's patience, but when it's over, you say to yourself, what else did he do? What else can I see?
Right.
What else can I challenge myself to? So yeah, let's be excited about this.
And speaking of what else you can see, Crossing Delancey on 4K and Blu-ray, the Joan Micklin silver film, which I just recently, for the first time, watched the other Criterion Joan Micklin Silver they just recently put out. Very happy with Chilly Scenes of Winter. This looks pretty good. New 4K digital restoration, supervised and approved by the cinematographer. We got a new program on the making of, featuring Amy Irving and Peter Riegert, screenwriter Susan Sandler, an audio interview from 1988, and an essay. And again, this is one of those situations where I will point out an audio interview and a program on the making of is all they would do. I guarantee there are literally hundreds of critics that would have done something for this for free.
I probably would have.
You didn't even have to pay people, and they would have done a commentary for free.
I've yet to break into the bonus features racket like you have. I'm game. I wanted to do this, but it hasn't happened yet. Maybe one of these days. A movie like this, though, you're absolutely correct. I reviewed for Screen Anarchy Chilly Scenes of Winter, by the way. What a good movie that is.
Great movie.
And I got one of my favorite lines that I've written, if I could just indulge for a second here, in my review of Chilly Scenes of Winter. As you may know from the extras on that disc, that the film had been released under the title Head Over Heels. Well, at that time, there had been a new Tears for Fears album called The Tipping Point that had just come out around that time, and I was into Tears for Fears, and I got to put in, the back, just kind of summarizing the backstory of Chilly Scenes of Winter and how its title got changed. It's like, and then something happens, and it's head over heels. The Tears for Fears song.
Great song.
I love to bury song lyrics apropos to nothing in my reviews, just for my own amusement. I do it all the time. That might be my favorite. And if you think that was stupid, well, sorry, maybe my writing isn't for you. But it's like these little Easter eggs I throw in just for no reason, and people can say, "Is that on purpose?" Yes, it is. Crossing Delancey looks fantastic.
Love this cover art too.
Joan Micklin Silver, underrated director. I think she's getting more rated though.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's starting to happen, which is good.
Ragnar in the comments saying how spoiled we become crying about not having a commentary. I will point out, just a few minutes ago you were commenting cash grab 4K re-releases. We're literally complaining about the same thing you just did. Make it not a cash grab and put better features on the releases to make it worth our money. You got to choose a side, Ragnar. Are you against them or not? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, Ragnar.
Let's go to the next one. Drugstore Cowboy. This is a big deal. And one, I'm sorry, I do not like the poster art on this one.
What is going on there?
I feel like somebody took an I Spy book and cut out a corner of it, and this is what we got. Gus Van Zant's Drugstore Cowboy from 1989. This also, I believe, got an imprint release. And here we are looking at a Criterion release. This one has a new 4K digital restoration supervised by Gus Van Zant and the DP Robert Yeoman. We've got one 4K of the film and a Blu-ray with the film and special features, an audio commentary with Gus Van Zant and Matt Dillon. I don't think this is new. I think this is an archival commentary. And then we've got the making of, featuring interviews with Van Zant, members of the cast and crew, some new interviews with Kelly Lynch and Yeoman as well, and then an essay by author and screenwriter John Raymond. Drugstore Cowboy. I think this is the first Blu-ray release of this in the U.S.
I believe it is too. This has not been a movie that's been that easy to come by either.
Right.
I'm looking at this artwork. I'm fascinated by the weirdness of this choice. This is a choice the Criterion's made. Now, here, dodgy Photoshop aside, the edge of his face needs a little tiny little bit of what do you call it? Smudging. It's too sharp. But if all that crap that's floating around, the hat and the needle and the upside down animals in the house and all this junk, the pills, if that's a slipcase a clear slipcase with that stuff on it.
I could see that.
Maybe then we've got something. That would be a cool package.
Yep, I would agree there.
Okay, let's hope it's that.
Yeah, God, when's the last time they did a fun one of those?
I don't know.
Parasite, maybe?
I'm looking over at my Criterion wall, and it's too far away for me to see. I don't know, guys. Maybe people in the chat will know. When's the last time Criterion? Oh, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Maybe. That's a few years ago, but they did do one.
Dallas says this cover is what your brain sees when trying to remember the plot of a Gus Van Sant movie.
Apropos. I should design some covers, says Silent Mandible. I did do a lot of Photoshop work on when I was a set dresser for film production. I set decorator and art director. I did. Luke Perry told me it was the best Photoshop he'd ever seen for one of the movies I did, where I had to make a fake family.
Nice,
just for pictures on the mantle in the house.
Right. And
a lot of times he says those are just slammed together overnight. Really bad Photoshop. You could, if you get right up on it, you can tell. But I made mine good, and he noticed.
Speaking of that, Mr. Berryman wants to know, what films did you work on, Jim?
We'll talk about that when we get to the Missouri movies.
Yes, we will.
Chat later in the show. I no longer work in the business right now. I'm quite content being a critic and a teacher of film, but I did my time.
Good to know.
I'll elaborate.
All right. Next up from Criterion is a 4K and Blu-ray release of Performance from 1970. For those that have never seen this, going to go through the synopsis on this one. The grimy criminal underworld and hedonistic rock and roll counterculture of the late 60s London collide in this mind-scrambling kaleidoscopic freakout. On the run from his vengeful boss, a ruthless gangster hides out in the Notting Hill home of reclusive rock star, the one and only Mick Jagger, and his companions, who open the doors of his perception as the lines between reality and fantasy, male and female, persona and self, dissolve in a hallucinogenic haze. I said that word wrong. Hallucinogenic. That's the word. Built around Jagger's most magnetic narrative film performance, this visionary collaboration between enigmatic artist Donald Cammell and first-time director Nicholas Roeg has a daringly transgressive, endlessly influential journey to the dark side of Bohemia.
I've seen this. Talk about covers that remind you, that put you in the headspace of the director's movies. Nicholas Roeg movies are like a fever dream you wish you could wake up from in the best possible way. The editing is a thing of beauty unto itself in Nicholas Roeg films. And this is one of his earlier ones like that. Have you seen this movie?
I've not seen this movie. This is one I've wanted to see for a long, long time. And the fact that this is getting a 4K, I'm stoked beyond belief. I mean, Roeg is always great, but this just sounds amazing.
I will say this. It's been a long time since I've watched Performance. I'll be buying this. But, I mean, Mick Jagger, Anita Pallenberg. I mean, this is, Nicholas Roeg. This is something, right? And it's one that didn't speak to me at the time at all. I appreciate it formally, but not as entertainment. That said, like I said, it was a long time ago. I was much younger. Maybe I'd see something else in it now that I'm an old man looking back,
right,
in 4K. And Mick Jagger is in this. That right there. How many times do I need to say? Yeah, Warner Archive has put this out on Blue. That is correct.
Absolutely.
But this is the 4K Criterion.
pretty loaded disc for what they're doing here. We've got Blu-ray. Well, and I guess first of all, I should say this has Dolby Vision, which not all the Criterions do, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. There is The Ultimate Performance from 1998, a documentary by Kevin McDonald and Chris Rodley. Making Performance from 2007, another documentary. New visual essay by Kieran Pym, biographer of dialogue coach and technical advisor David Litvinoff. Documentary featuring actors James Fox, Mick Jagger, and a whole bunch of others on this. Program on the dialogue overdubbing that was done on the U.S. version of the movie. And then we got an essay by film critic Ryan Gilbey and a 1995 article by Peter Wolin on this. So there's a lot of items, at least. How good they are, we'll see. That is a whole lot of documentaries and making ofs and stuff on this.
Oh, come on. Let's give them some credit.
It's a good thing.
You've been going after Criterion for a while now.
I still will. One new thing. If you're Criterion, one new bonus feature on this, really?
All right. One new bonus. Yeah, they couldn't get Mick Jagger to come in and do a commentary.
I got to admit, a new interview with him would be pretty cool to look back on his career.
It would be pretty cool. But of course, he's kind of busy.
I mean, is he though?
Yeah.
Well,
they're still touring. They still got it. Those Rolling Stones, they're still rolling like crazy. It's nuts.
He can take an afternoon in the Criterion closet.
Yeah, he'd be excited to go in the closet. Those free discs. He'd be like, oh, free things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to sound like I'm just complaining about Criterion. However, this kind of is just about Criterion. You've got labels that are fairly new to the game that are putting work into producing 4 or 5 new features and a commentary, and Criterion does one thing. And again, they have a great library. I'm not saying they don't, but we are still treating Criterion like they are, leading the next generation of filmmakers, which they are. And if that's the case, we should be leaving a legacy of more context on these discs.
Those closet videos are truly a thing, though.
Insanely popular.
Yeah, like I said, my daughter, she knows about them, and even though she's a film buff, she's not a physical media buff.
Right.
But she does follow certain artists and musicians and whatnot. And hey, come in here.
All right.
Here she is. We're just talking about the Criterion closet.
Oh yeah.
This is what'd you drop?
My phone.
Good grief! This is my daughter Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Yeah, she's a film buff, and we're just talking about the Criterion closet. What singers were in the Criterion closet or actors recently?
Ayo Edebiri was in the Criterion closet recently.
Yes, she was.
She's pretty cool. Willem Dafoe was in there a little while ago. That was kind of a little bit while back, but I remember seeing him in there.
But it's a thing, it's like something. It's transcended us old physical media nerds. It's more than that. So they made the ice cream truck into a Criterion closet on wheels, and people get excited.
And now you can buy a version of that truck from the Criterion store and bring a little trinket to your house.
That's $25
plus shipping.
You can buy a little Criterion. They announced this the other, like a
keychain or like a tiny little toy. Like what?
It's like a wooden block truck, basically.
All right. I mean, if they're making money off of like merchandise, that's pretty cool. I guess that means people are watching the videos.
Absolutely, they are.
It's good. I mean, who's buying the truck?
The background.
Iris? That's our youngest daughter. That's the youngest kid. Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. See, here's the thing. Early on, somebody asked me what's in my basement. Well, this is not the basement. This is not, believe it or not, this is not the basement. This is like the upstairs nice room of the house that has
this
become.
This is the presentable one.
Yeah, and it's not presentable. But anyway, the kids' bathroom is literally right there, right through this wall. So that's why I've got children climbing through here because they need to brush their teeth. And I shut the room off so we can do this very important podcast in peace. And they're climbing through like commandos on their belly to brush their teeth is what they're doing.
Well, we got clarification. One of the hosts of the Criterion Now podcast says it's a Hot Wheels Matchbox truck.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I mean, if it wasn't $25, I'd buy that.
But it looks like it's made of wood.
They said it's metal.
Oh, it's metal.
Yeah.
It did look like it was wood and metal. I don't know for sure.
Well,
$25 is a lot if it's just a Hot Wheels truck, I gotta admit.
Yeah. It's like the toy trains that magnetize together.
Like that kind of wood?
It looked like it to me. It looked like that.
Yeah.
All right. What are we doing?
Great to meet you, Grace.
Nice to meet you too.
Back to performance.
This is Ryan. He hosts this thing every week.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
What's this movie?
And you're being broadcast live, and hundreds of people are watching you.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see you, hundreds of people.
He's super smart about movies and everything. You know, like I told the story when we went to see The Good Dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
Back when it came out, and she was a real little kid, and I was just kind of trying to appease them and say, I enjoyed things about that movie, even though it's not anybody's best work.
Right.
I thought the kids, I didn't want to suck the air out of the kids' experience. And she goes, no. Let me just tell you, Daddy, this is the problem with The Good Dinosaur. And then proceeded to break it apart point by point in a legitimate way. And it was like, okay. All right. I've
Cancel the paternity test.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about the new Criterions. So.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
the other new Criterion, Chronos. This is a Guillermo del Toro getting a 4K upgrade on February 25th. This is from 1993. I had somebody say that this is coming from the director of the best film of the 21st century, and they were alluding to Pan's Labyrinth. How do you feel about that statement?
I love Del Toro. I love what he does. Pan's Labyrinth has yet to fully win me over. And this is one I haven't seen yet. I own I think I own the Blu-ray, so I'll just stick with that. But I've yet to watch it. It's one that I bought at one of the sales with the intention of getting around to watching, and it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I love Del Toro. I did review Pinocchio, the Criterion Del Toro's Pinocchio that came out a couple of years ago. That has a really cool case, by the way.
Yep.
Talking about cool Criterion cases, that one is really worth. If you like fun, cool cases, get it. And Pinocchio is a beautiful movie.
Sure is.
This I can't vouch. Like I said, I can't vouch for this. I don't know. How do you feel about Pan's Labyrinth in this movie?
I adore Pan's Labyrinth. I like it a lot more than this. I was just blown away that somebody would say that Pan's Labyrinth is the best movie of the 21st century.
I've heard people say that, though. I've heard people say that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that I agree for me. Don't hear me saying that it's bad. It's good. It's quite good. It's something.
Right.
Maybe I need to take another look at it. That's fine.
And just like we were talking about with BFI competing, this is another one that just got a BFI 4K announced. So that will have different features, a bigger booklet, better encoding. So it's one of those things that you may want to, especially if you already have the blue of Criterion, you should probably get the 4K from BFI if you really like the movie. That way you got the best of both worlds. No reason not to there.
Well, I got to watch it first.
That's why I said if you really love it. I'm not trying to talk anybody into buying it at all. No. I mean, don't buy it. Who cares?
Yeah, screw it. You know what? This is a cover by Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy.
Sure is.
Which I love those Hellboy movies, by the way. I wish, like everybody wishes that they do a third one. That's never going to happen. But I wouldn't have pegged this as a Mike Mignola art. It's not distinct enough,
It's subtle, yeah.
Looks like a background element in a broader Mike Mignola piece.
Or an iPhone wallpaper. Let's go to the next one. Another Severin announcement coming on 4K. Another one with many titles: Last Cannibal World, or Jungle Holocaust, or The Last Survivor, or Cannibal. This is from 1977. This is the North American 4K premiere of this film. Previously, Code Red had put this out. This one will have an audio commentary by Ruggiero Deodato. This is an archival.
Stay in there for right now. My daughter poking her, my 10-year-old poking her head out when we're looking at Last of the Cannibal World censored slipcover.
I can change it over.
All right, what else you got? What are our options?
Last one is this one. That's probably the least inflammatory one.
What is the 10-year-old kid-friendly cover of Severin's Cannibal? What's this called? Last Cannibal.
Last Cannibal World.
Grace, you can come out, or Iris, you can come out. Okay, we're looking at cannibal. We're talking about cannibal movies.
Good night.
Sleep well. Good night.
You too.
Let's see this one.
All right, she's gone. Bring on the Melusi. Good Lord.
Archival commentary from Deodato. We got an interview with the assistant director, one and only Lamberto Bava. Interview with the actress Mamie Lay. We've got Massimo Foschi getting interviewed. Ivan Rasimov on this as well. Exclusive booklet by Claire Donner of the Miskatonic Institute of Horror. And
Where's that?
it's got a few actual locations, but I believe the original one is in Canada.
Oh, cool. Field trip.
I think Kayla Janice actually is was involved in the founding of it.
At the Miskatonic Institute of Horror Studies.
Yeah,
I can
her
just imagine this glass building with like 2 or 3 stories and a sign out front, that says Miskatonic Institute of Horror Studies, and then all of a sudden lightning and blood.
Yeah, completely agree. This looks like a good release. I'm kind of curious to see what release is going to be on here, because I know the Code Red release of this film had 2 different cuts, and Severin is not displaying the information about the cuts on this.
What about the other cut, Severin? Usually they're pretty thorough about these things, right? I mean, they cover the bases as best they're able, right? I mean,
usually we're talking like 5-disc release, though.
I know. There was a Severin pop-up here in St. Louis a few weeks ago with Will, the traveling road show. And I met this really cool people. They were there to preach the gospel of Jus Franco. And I watched Vampiros Lesbos theatrically.
Nice.
It was quite interesting.
Nice.
I bought Opera. The Severin Opera, which weighs, it's got 5 discs in it. Or
massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
So that's a package. Now this I'll also buy down the road.
How do you feel about the whole cannibal cycle of films?
I'm fascinated by it. I bought some cannibal movies recently that I've never seen, like, any of them. I think I've seen 1 or 2 actually, but not the big heavy hitters. I bought Cannibal Holocaust during a Grindhouse sale. I was going to buy the other Cannibal, Ferox, but I accidentally bought The Beyond instead. And a week later, they announced The Beyond 4K. And
which still hasn't materialized, and that's been like 2.5 years.
Oh, well, that's in my favor. So yeah, I felt stupid, but I'm less stupid now because it never materialized.
In the comments, Sibiner says there were at least 3 times this past week I thought you accidentally posted the same movie, Ryan. Yeah, lots of cannibal movies coming this time from Severin.
Cooler.
It's in color, absolutely.
F Crocodile's pointing that out.
I think that's because
it says on
one?
there.
Yeah, bottom right.
Yeah, with a U.
Let's take a trip over to Third Window Films, putting out some incredible films. February 17th, all 3 of these are coming on Blu-ray, and they're all a part of their Directors Company collection. This is the 3rd round of 3 releases that they've done in that collection. This first one is Bumpkin Soup from 1985. This is directed by A little known Kiyoshi Kurosawa. This is an early Pink film from him. This is going to have an interview with the actress Yoriko Noguchi on it. Full audio commentary by Jasper Sharp, a visual essay by Jerry White, slipcase, and then there's going to be liner notes by Jasper Sharp on this as well, who produces a lot of stuff for them.
Okay, I reviewed a few Pink films for Zeke Film recently from Redemption, putting out DVDs this year of these movies. Being somebody who is not well versed in the whole Pink film Japanese thing, I had to do some research. I found that these are supposed to be lo-fi. They are supposed to be low budget. Yes, they cross some boundaries and push some limits in terms of content and what they're showing and sexual stuff and whatnot, but there's also barriers that cannot be crossed. And those are weird.
Yep.
Now, here's my question. The Redemption DVDs do not look good.
I have a theory about those. Obviously, they have not said it publicly. I have a feeling that they got a very quick shot at the license and just had to put it out immediately.
Okay, because my question is, though, reading about the Pink films and what they are and what they were intended to be is lo-fi, not high quality image. So as what I'm seeing on those DVDs, is it a crappy DVD or is it a crappy image to begin with that's accurately represented?
The sad thing is it's likely a crappy image that's not accurately represented on a crappy DVD.
It's 2 times crappy.
Yes. I have a feeling that if that was given to a company like Third Window or some of these other companies that I know of right now that are working on some Pink films that have not been announced, multiple labels working on Pink films right now, I will definitely guarantee you're going to love the way some of those look if you pick up those discs, because these are shot on film. These are made well. They are made. I mean, this is made by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Yeah. Even on day one, the dude had talent. Nobody can argue with that. They're mostly going to look great. The Redemption DVDs, something about it doesn't smell right. It seems like it's the end of the contract. I have to shoot it out right now.
Yeah, that's just it. It's like something's fishy, and I don't know what it is. Now, in the meantime, I stopped getting comp copies from Kino Lorber because they tightened their belt. Yeah. So Zeke Film is not currently reviewing Kino Lorber as of the last few months. I'd love to change that back, everybody. Go hit the site, and maybe we can get our numbers up to the point where Kino will say, yeah, okay. But in the meantime, Zeke Film is one of many sites I've noticed lately to get cut. And there goes my coverage of Redemption Pink DVDs.
Well, I mean, the thing with Kino, they're releasing 250 titles a year. It doesn't seem like they need much help to advertise at the moment.
I guess not.
So this is the first of 3 from Third Window. The second one up is Mermaid Legend, which this isn't the last you're going to hear about this title tonight, but this is one that people have wanted for quite some time. This is done by Toshiharu Akeda. That's the same director who did Evil Dead Trap and Angel Guts Red Porno. This one, we got an interview with the writer on this. We got a feature-length audio commentary by Jasper Sharp and Tom Mest working together on this. Visual essay on Toshiyuki Honda by James Balmont. A trailer and then writing by Jasper Sharp as well. And again, these 3 titles might be my favorite announcements of the week.
They are fascinating. They are truly fascinating. A movement in film in Japan. A fascinating film country to begin with.
Yeah.
My word. Yeah. This, I don't see the mermaids on here. It's Mermaid Legend. Oh, there's a girl. Now that's the girl about to get eaten by Jaws. The girl swimming, skinny dipping at the beginning of Jaws. It looks like that is what that cover looks like.
Yep.
I guess I'd prefer that to this first cover because, well, for obvious reasons, but also, I I don't know what's going on in this first cover with the people in the orange room on fire. They're laying there covered in blood, and this person's hair is on fire. I don't know.
Well, let's go through the last one in the announcements, and that is
Mermaid.
Scent of a Spell from 1985. This is a Nikatsu Roman porno film done by also Toshiharu Ikeda. This one is going to have an interview with the Tokyo International Film Festival programming director Shozo Ichiyama. Another commentary, this one by Sam Deegan. Visual essay by Matthew Carter. Slipcase, of course, and then writing by Jasper Sharp. And Jasper Sharp has been a longtime defender of the Roman porno genre or Nikatsu movement that they did back around then. So this should be a big deal. All three of these, to me, are a must-own if you like stuff like this.
I'm curious about this, and I'd love to know more. It's this other fascinating angle. Yeah, somebody's saying, does it look like Radiance? Kind of, it looks like this is a separate little piece of paper fold over thing that Radiance does.
It's a different, that's just the slipcover. It's not the OBI strip or OB strip like Radiance. But I also will point out that one of the producers that works on these is Tom Mess, who is an employee at Radiance. So Tom Mess is a Japanese film expert and definitely helps out with stuff like this. They're longtime friends of Adams over at Third Window.
Awesome. Well, it's a small world, isn't it? This cover, aside from the non-OB strip, you say Roman porno. There's an element of porno perhaps at the bottom portion, but I don't see the Roman. And it's Japanese, not Italian. So I guess I need to read Jasper's booklet here, don't I?
Yeah, and it seems like the next movement or trend that we're going to see might be some Roman porno titles. 88 Films has announced a few of those recently, and now we got these. And I'm not sure how many there are total, but it seems like either licensing probably recently opened up, or they realized that people are interested in it.
How many is there total? There's 88 films.
At least. All right. That was...
I don't know.
That was it from Third Window, yet another number. Let's go to Jaws, but not Jaws. January 21st, Kino is releasing Orca, a.k.a. Orca the Killer Whale on 4K. This is from 1977. This is a film that got released previously by Scream Factory. This one, yet another Kino title with the wonderful triplets doing an audio commentary. Howard S. Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Nathaniel Thompson. We've got some of the carried over bonus features on the Blu-ray and another audio commentary on the 4K from the late Lee Gambin. Rest in peace. God, this is going to look great on 4K. This movie is pretty damn good.
Okay, I've never seen this, but I know about it. I've heard it discussed a lot. I know people are appreciative of this as like perhaps the greatest of the Jaws ripoffs. Now, where I have to draw the line, even though, like I said, I haven't seen it, I don't know if our friends Howard Berger and Steve Mitchell and Nathaniel Thompson and Lee Gambin are among those who go as far as to say Orca's better than Jaws. I've heard this. It's like there is a point where the revisionism gets to sounding a little loopy, my friends. I know we're all entitled to our opinions, but come on, this is we're talking about Jaws, and it's a Jaws ripoff. Let's.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, it can be a good movie. It can be a really good, great movie, in fact. But is it
even as a ripoff? Yeah.
Better than Jaws? And I'm not saying that these folks said that. I do know, though, I've heard this in the discourse by, people with platforms in our hobby. That it's like sometimes these movies get elevated a little high, don't you think?
Well, a lot of people also truly hate Steven Spielberg for catering to the mainstream, so that could be a part of it.
It's Steven Spielberg, folks. He does what he does better than anybody else.
We've got some questions. Will this be the same print as the Studio Canal 4K? Now, normally, I would jump to say yes, because Kino just takes it. but normally they would point out that it's from the Studio Canal 4K, and this says from a 4K scan of the 35 millimeter original camera negative. Now, it doesn't say anything else. It does say brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master. However, the Studio Canal one is a brand new one in the last couple of years, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was identical. So we shall see. We shall see.
They say they give us more information than Criterion did about King Lear. I'll say that.
Yes, at least before buying it.
Someone's taking it. Matthew Henning's taking issue over here in the chat. A Jaws ripoff. Excuse me. This is about a whale, not a shark. Good point.
That one's sarcasm, at least.
I stand corrected.
Let's carry on.
Let's.
The next Severin title is their first title that is not a 4K upgrade of a previously announced Blu-ray title. This is the worldwide disc premiere of the one and only Jess Franco's Thong Girls from 1983. This one's going to have an audio commentary with John Dixon and William Morris. We got an interview with Stephen Thrower, of course, and In the Land of Franco Part 11 on this one. New to disc Franco is where a lot of people get excited.
Does Stephen Thrower talk about Thong Girls for 40 minutes?
I'm willing to bet it's at least 25.
I don't know anything about this movie other than what we're seeing here. I must admit,
which, to be fair, is a lot.
Thong Girls. I must admit, I'm lost for words, Ryan. This is something. I told you I just went a few weeks ago to the Severin pop-up screening here in St. Louis of Will's going to be excited, isn't he? Yeah, we're all excited. Come on, admit it, folks. Look at this thing. I went to the pop-up screening of Vampirus Lesbos and Dracula, Slave of Frankenstein, or whatever that was. I watched those movies and listened to these guys get up and introduce the movies and then lead discussions and explain to us why Jess Franco movies are actually, precise works of intentional out of focusness and rickety zooms and this, he meant to do that, people. And, in the moment I was convinced. And I still say, yes, Jess Franco, there's something to that. You sit through a Jess Franco movie and you're like, good Lord, it's kind of like the Godard, but an altogether different experience and yet the same experience where you're like, good Lord, is this ever going to end? Why am I watching this? Why am I subjecting myself to it? And then it ends and it's like, when's the next Jess Franco movie?
Right.
And this time it's Thong Girls, people. So, don't tell me that you can resist.
Well, as we've been going over, this will be available during their Black Friday sale for the first time, starting next Thursday into Friday.
He's an artiste, people. He's an artiste.
Then, Era 4444 also announced that they've got 3 titles coming in 2025. The first one being what we just discussed, Mermaid Legend. The second being The Challenge of the Lady Ninja. And then the third being Alone. Alone is from 2007. We don't have any other details on these, but you can rest assured that you'll be able to get these in the U.S.
Okay, well, somebody has to ask it here. What is speculation entirely at this point, but are we going to go for third window Mermaid Legend or Error 4444 Mermaid Legend?
Here's the hard part. They most likely, in fact, I can pretty much guarantee they worked together on the release.
That's very nice.
It is. They've done this before with some of them, and literally it's probably identical masters, licensed exactly the same. The difference, though, will be if you want to check out the features. If that's something that's important to you, they will likely have different features.
So you have to buy both, is what you're saying.
If you love the movie, you don't have to buy either one.
Mermaid Legend devotees, completists, take note.
Craig says, have they ever explained the name of their label? Kind of, and you can watch an interview I did with them on the channel to figure that out.
I'm sure it's like some sort of like coding error. You know,
in a way, yeah.
Yeah, when you're doing your digitizing, you're creating your digital transfers of these obscure movies as these labels must do, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong and it's error 4444, and you're like, crap! I got the error 4444. Except now, when you get the error 4444, it's this stuff showing up in your mailbox, and you're happy.
Craig says, nice plug. I do my best, but speaking of plugs, let's talk about my magazine that I put out. Jim, you got to have something in the last issue.
Not this one.
No, in the last issue.
I'm too busy. But I love it. I love to be in that. And Grace, who was just in here, when that showed up in the mail. Well, first of all, my wife and my daughter were like, not the cover of this issue, but the previous one with as above, so below on the cover. They're like, this looks like a vagina. and I was like, yeah, it does. And I'm in it. And that immediately made him go, what? Rephrase that. Okay, there it is. See? Yes. And I was like, yes, it looks like a vagina, and I'm in it. So anyway, excuse me while I blow my nose. I've got a little winter sniffles going on here. I apologize for that, everybody. Anyway, yeah, I'm in that, and I was like, I'm in this, and she's like, wait, what? And I opened it, and the piece that I submitted was there in print. They were both legitimately impressed. They were proud of me. Ryan.
That's amazing.
And I have to say, this is how low the bar has gotten around here. That I was like, it's a recycled review from Zeke Film that I punched up a little bit, but we put it in the magazine, and I it's got a second life because I figured it was pertinent, because the movie I was writing about in that issue, not this issue, but that issue,
perfect. Yeah.
was coming out on 4K, and it was a funny review, I thought. So thank you for the opportunity, and I will be back if you'll have me.
And next time it'll probably be more fresh. We'll get something in there. It won't be recycled Zeke Film. We'll get something new.
Oh, let's recycle more. No, nobody knew that until I just revealed it. Nobody knew that I don't. Maybe they did.
We have some Zeke Film devotees in the chat, probably.
Prove
it. This issue just released paperback digital this week. Lots of stuff to go over in this. We've got a memorial piece on Terry Garr from the one and only Stan Geezy. We've also got a really lovely piece from him about Karen Black, who I've always loved. Crit Pick, if you were here for the Thanksgiving episode of Reconnected, he wrote on the brand new Netflix movie, It's What's Inside. So glad he wanted to do that. Joker 2 coming out inspired Frank Gutler to write about big swing movies. And we got Rachel Bellward to try to talk you into watching The Cobweb, an exclusive interview with Eduardo from the brand new, well, not brand new, but like up and coming, getting more popular website, Mighty Chroma. That's a review, like indexing site for Blu-rays and 4Ks. So you can go and compare what other sites have seen to try to figure out what's actually the truth on some of these. We got a piece from Richard Stringham, who is defending the idea of physical media. Penny Folger wants you to check out The Addiction on 4K, coming out from Arrow here soon. And then Beyond Fest was massive this year, and our dear friend Jeremy Long wrote a huge recap piece about all the Q&As and films that were shown that week. It's a really, really fun issue. I'm very proud of this one. Might be my favorite one we did yet. There's even a surprise activity. I've tried to make a lot of those super fun, and the activity is really interesting on this one. Brand new swing, inspired by one and only Mr. Daniel Sibner in the chat. So it's pretty great.
I'm sold. And just to clarify, just to be clear, when I said that's how low the bar's gotten around here, I'm being silly. This magazine is really.
I was not offended. You're good.
Yeah, no, I was just, I was going for a punchline, that maybe at your expense unnecessarily. That was uncalled for. And no, really though. This is cool. This is just cool that you're doing this. And I know you've got your your hands in 1,000,001 different projects. How the heck this thing happens so regularly is over my head. I get tired, just like teaching a class and writing a few reviews every week. And so, people ought to check this out. I need to get caught up on the Physical Media Advocate. It's great that in the new issue of the Physical Media Advocate, you have an article by somebody advocating physical media.
It's an interesting piece too, because he talks about it as somebody asks him, why do you collect physical media? And it takes him aback for a moment. And he goes, I mean, it seems like everybody answers that question already, but nobody has asked me that. And he explains why it's so important to him. And what's great is Richard's a filmmaker. He's somebody that has produced films, written, directed films, and to have him speak on the physical side of it is super important. And what's great is one of Richard's films is what got me to buy from a label for the first time. So, I mean, all just full circle.
Well, that's, like I said, I'm sold. Yeah, I don't get asked that. And when somebody says, well, why do you buy physical media? You just, well, why don't you? It's it goes both ways.
Right. Completely agree. Matthew says, I just realized the magazine is available on Amazon. Yeah, I don't say this enough. It is available on Amazon literally worldwide. You can buy this anywhere in the world and they will ship it to you. And not only that, it's print on demand in most countries. So it's not like you're going to be paying $40 to import it or anything like that. They do have paper versions and digital versions, but the best part, it's kind of worth it sometimes to get both. The digital version, everything is clickable. All of the pictures will take you to the film that they're talking about. If you see a picture of a steelbook and you want to go purchase that steelbook, it'll take you to the steelbook to look at it right there to be able to purchase.
Is it Amazon or the actual boutique or what have you?
I do the boutique as often as possible.
So you're not only putting together a magazine that's a physical thing, you go through every article and hot link
most of the titles and every contributor. If you tap on their name, it takes you to their social media, their letterbox, something like that, to be able to find them. Yes. When the page that says 3 film podcasts that you should go listen to, all 3 of those pictures are hot linked to the podcast to go subscribe right then.
And they'll start playing whether you like it or not.
100%.
That's awesome. Well, good. Where do you find the time? Seriously, that's what I'm shaking my head about. This is that you're bending time, right?
It's not just me. Got to shout out Stan Giese is my main man on this. He does a lot of the layout with me. We work our tail off on every single one of these issues. So Stan, you are my personal hero. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Stan. I didn't see now we're talking. I like to hear that, actually. I like to hear that there's delegation happening.
I had to. I couldn't do it on my own anymore.
You have to, exactly. That's good because, while I appreciate all this, I worry because part of my own story is I burned out.
Right.
That's why I don't work on the movie business right now. I burned out. I was crashing hard mentally and physically and not realizing what that meant. So do take care of yourself.
Oh, I do. I personally do better when I'm active on everything. So that's enough about this. Check out the magazine or not.
I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but let's sell some magazines.
Go buy the magazine. You'll love it. In fact, go check it out in Granby, Massachusetts, in person from Legends, which is owned by one Christopher Silvestri, commenting right now. Carries it at his store every single time. Appreciate that. And Stan says we're already hard at work on the next issue. It's already full. The January issue is like already almost completely laid out. Hey, Snowpiercer. This is directed by Bong Joon-ho. Came out in 2013. Getting a 4K release from Lionsgate in this pretty fancy steelbook. I really like the look of this. You can pre-order this now. This is an Amazon exclusive. And I got to admit, I've never seen Snowpiercer, and I really need to.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask what you think of this movie.
No, I'm dying to see it. I'm a bad Bong Joon-ho fan. I love a lot of, like, pretty much everything, but I somehow have never seen this or Okja.
I haven't seen Okja. I did buy a copy recently, I don't know when I'll get to it, but yeah, I'm not on board, so to speak, Snowpiercer, because it is about a train. I didn't like it when I saw it. It's the
Wow.
premise is absurd. It's a little much. It's the end of the world and everybody's on a train and the train has to go and there's the haves and the have-nots and the commentary of social, caste systems and whatnot is going on the train, and then it's an action movie and it's Chris Evans and on and on. It felt like it was reaching conceptually in ways that didn't jive for me. And that said, I'm in the minority. People love it. People think it's great. That's fine.
I had no idea that people were so split on this movie. I thought most people liked it, and now we're getting.
They do. Most people like it. Like I said, I'm in the minority. What's going on over here in the comments? Are people yelling at me?
Brian says, I don't like this movie at all. Stan says it's a heavy-duty metaphor.
It is heavy.
And then Oakja, half the people are saying it's great, and the other half are saying it's not. So.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe, yeah. See, here's love Snowpiercer, all caps, as your, Stan. Snowpiercer is a favorite movie. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's a split deal just based on this unscientific sampling. I said my piece. I'm not getting this.
Good to know. All right.
I'm glad it's out there for those of you who dig it.
Indeed. Another release from Severin. This one is Night Train Murders, aka Last Stop on the Night Train. Love the art on the sleeve, the cover, everything on this is really great.
It's cool. Oh wow! Now look at that one.
Yeah.
Of the three covers, I think we may have a censor issue on that. I can't quite tell.
It's too small. Nobody will notice.
Okay, good. I think you're fine. Anyway, yeah, these certainly the first two are quite striking covers. They're good work there, Severin.
Yep, this is first time on 4K anywhere in the world. This has a couple commentaries on the 4K and Blu-ray. One is with the director, moderated by Federico Cadeo, and then the new one, commentary with Art Edinger and Bruce Holchek. We've got some interviews on the Blu-ray disc as well. There is also Night Train Murders and Sadian Women, Power, Pleasure, and the Subversion of Morality by Kat Ellinger. And this also will have a soundtrack CD. They are leaning into these. I'm loving how much, extras, the soundtracks, everything. They're trying to make these the definitive releases.
They are they must be the definitive releases. Yeah. I mean, who's going to bother trying to top this for a movie? The Night Train Murders, for God's
Night Train Murders 5-disc 4K next time.
Oh, whatever. I mean, I'm fine with the. How many discs is this? 3?
It'll be 3, yeah.
And it's a 4K for this movie that seems intriguing, but I've never heard of. Night Train Murders, everyone. It's another train movie, by the way. The Snowpiercer is a train. This is a train.
Just keep the show on the rails tonight.
I see what you did there.
Yes. Yeah, this is one that I have been wanting to see for quite some time.
I'm in.
Moving right along, Mill Creek, who got kind of caught astray earlier on the show, actually.
Sorry, Mill Creek. Mill Creek does a great job on these Ultraman releases.
Yeah, that is a good point. They kind of kill it with the Ultraman stuff. January 28th, they're releasing Ultraman Z, the complete series. You can pre-order this now. And yeah, definitely, kudos for everything they do for Ultraman. They've done all of it. They look pristine, lots of extras. Kind of crazy how they've been able to pull all those off.
Yeah, I agree. I have the first handful, and then they just kept on putting them out, and it was too much. Yep. I'm not an Ultraman fan. I was interested in supporting what they were doing, though, and they're dipping their toe into doing better work and all of that a few years ago when they started these things. Those are good sets. They really are, and I assume that, they still are.
Yeah.
They also put out, they put a lot of effort into Sequest, the TV series. They put that out and made a big deal of it with some commentaries and special features and things. And then for me as a critic, the freaking Sequest set showed up to my house unsolicited. I didn't request it or ask for it or click on something or anything. It just showed up. So I was like, well, guess I better review it. Next thing I know, I'm watching every episode of Sequest.
This comment is gold. Dallas wants to know, but are you a cosplay fetish Ultraman fan, Jim?
No comment.
All right, we got a handful of releases left to talk about. First one is Daddy, coming from Anchor Bay Entertainment on February 25th. Yes, I did just say Daddy coming. This is going to be released on Blu-ray at the end of February.
Sequest $25. Everybody go buy it. Or don't.
So the synopsis on this one.
Let's talk about Daddy.
In a dystopian society where the state has the power to determine who can and cannot father children, 4 men attend a government-sanctioned retreat in the remote mountains of California. When they show up at the site, only to find no guide or instructions waiting for them, they are left to their own devices and must prove to themselves and each other that they have what it takes to become fathers.
They have what it takes? Most of us have what it takes. I mean, what... this isn't selling me. This seems
not at all.
Who's putting this out?
The resurged Anchor Bay.
Once again, something's fishy.
Anchor Bay. It's basically in name only. Some people bought the brand, and now they're releasing some films under that title. What's really weird is the way everything is rolling out. I'm not entirely sure that they even know what they're doing fully. You can go buy one of their other movies. I think it was Crust, the Sean Whalen directed film that he did this year. You could buy it on their site for like $45, or you could pre-order it on Amazon for $15, and they're identical packages, nothing different.
The bottom part of the cover looks like this Sibner. Looks like if Warhol did a cover for Shyamalan's Unbreakable. That's exactly what it is. It's Bruce Willis in that thing, that hoodie, that rain poncho.
The poncho, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, color filter, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Okay, that's good.
All right, so that is Daddy.
Oh, it's a Sequest just dropped to $21, everybody.
Do I hear 19?
Do I hear 19? They're underwater on this thing.
Let's see. March 3rd in the UK, CineAsia UK is releasing Stuntman from this year. Now, it's funny. The synopsis for this says, a washed-up action choreographer struggling to find his way in a changing industry risks everything to stage an epic comeback and attempts to repair the relationship with his estranged daughter before it's too late. That is the exact plot of a Jackie Chan movie that came out 2 years ago that also starred a horse.
And it's, a horse?
Yes.
A Jackie Chan movie from 2 years ago about a horse. Yes. I was going to say it reminds me of Stunt Rock, that Australian.
A bit, yes, a bit.
It's got that kind of thing a little bit, but without the wizard themed rock band, or in this case, a Jackie Chan horse.
Yeah, a movie called Ride On from I think 2022 or 2023, just a couple years ago. Like literally word for word, this exact same plot,
but without the horse.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I haven't seen this. There may be a horse.
There's a lot of cardboard boxes on the cover. I don't know. Well, okay. If you're really into this Stuntman, you see Fall Guy. Remember the Fall Guy from May, that Ryan Gosling movie it was actually pretty good. Fun movie. Reviews, yeah. It's about a stuntman.
Yep.
And everybody said when it failed that, well, as it turns out, people don't want movies about stuntmen. People don't want movies about making movies. That doesn't appeal to the general public because they don't care. And now we're getting another stuntman movie. I don't know if their timing is the best.
Matthew says, but does it really work without the horse?
No.
I love my comment section every week. You guys are amazing.
Why am I don't even need to be here.
88 Films saw Severin announce Night Train Murders on 4K, and they said, wait, what about us? we're also releasing Night Train Murders on 4K. That'll be coming soon, sometime in 2025. The big thing is this was the first title that they released in the Italian collection, and they're going to be upgrading it to 4K eventually.
So we were just making jokes about the definitive version of Night Train Murders, and you knew this was coming.
But the Severn title, it'll still be the definitive version.
Exactly. Although this one comes with a nice side of cappuccino, apparently. We're looking at the photo here, and this is not your standard product photo of a Blu-ray. You know, it's laying on a wooden table with a, propped up on a cappuccino saucer. Yeah, with a cup of, a cup of Joe right there. Does it come with the coffee, they ask? A valid question. I'm more interested in the coffee right now than I am whatever they're doing with this Night Train Murders.
Even better, it's not a computerized CG mock-up. They took the sleeve out of their old Blu-ray release and put it in a 4K case and actually took a photo. I mean, that's to be commended.
That's 5 minutes of effort right there.
Maybe. I mean, if their titles weren't alphabetized, it probably took a while.
Now, here I was thinking they actually made the thing already and it's ready to go.
No.
No,
not even close.
No.
All right. Twister, that one movie from 1996. I know a lot of people that missed out on the 4K Steelbook and were upset about that from this summer. Turbine over in Germany is releasing a 4K Steelbook and Media Book that is very English friendly. This is going to have Dolby Atmos, all the fun stuff, brand new 4K restoration like the US version did. This has the audio commentary, interviews, making ofs, all that fun stuff, all of them with English and German subtitles, supposedly. And one of the biggest things is this has actual original art on it, which is kind of rare for releases like this. I kind of want one of these. This looks like a solid release of this movie. How do you feel about Twister as a Missouri person?
Why, as a Missouri person?
Because you're closer to the action. A lot of people have never been around the Midwest, literally, and this feels like a completely foreign land to them.
Yeah, there are tornadoes every now and then.
This is a real thing, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a documentary, by the way.
They tend not to touch down where I am. They go over and then they, find a trailer park 30 miles from here. But that didn't occur to me when I went to see Twister. I was in college when this movie came out, and I was like, all right, well, let's see. It's the summer of Escape from LA and Twister. Maybe not the best summer. Every year has great movies. These are not them. I know you guys think Twister's the bee's knees. I don't. It's just stupid. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't find it entertaining. I just find it kind of annoying. I remember the scene where the Van Halen song that they put out at the time, and they got a lot of hype on the radio and everything. This new Van Halen song from Twister. And they're listening to that song in their van while they drive through the weeds, and you're hearing the Twister score, you're hearing sound effects, you're hearing actors talking, and Van Halen. And I was just like, gah! One thing at a time, people. That's how this experience is. It beats you over the head. And, when it comes down to it, they're fighting nature. They can't win here.
Nope.
There's the corporate tornado chasers. Well, okay, fine. Those are the bad guys, but they get there soon enough. They're left to, the best case scenario for this movie is they get to release their high-tech ping pong balls into the Twister. And that means the promise of possible research to prevent future tornadoes, which clearly they weren't able to do, since now in the year 2024, it's Twisters. It's worse. So that's my Twister take. You asked me what I think, and then you got it.
I don't know, Jim. I could listen to you bitch about Twister for hours.
I've got more. There's more where that came from. I made a point of being like, if I'm going to see this movie, I need to see it in like the biggest screen in town with the best sound system, because that's clearly the only reason it exists.
Right.
So parlaying that logic, to this. If you're going to bother, Ultra HD Blu-ray 4K remaster
with Dolby
Blu-ray,
Atmos.
Dolby Atmos from Germany is clearly with the cover that is, the poster recolored, by the way. Go get that. That's the way to do it. If you're going to do it, you got to really do it. You can't watch this movie on your phone.
Oh, man. All right. Let's keep going. Douglas Sirk. What a transition from Twister to Douglas Sirk.
Ugh! I got whiplash.
Oh, wow. February 24th on Blu-ray in the UK. The Masters of Cinema line is getting Cirque in Germany. This will have April, The Girl from Marshcroft, Pillars of Society, and a whole bunch of shorts as well. They've got intertitles, they've got dialogue, they've got subtitles, they've got sound, they've got silence, all kinds of stuff all over this. We've got a brand new slipcase, which looks really good. Scott Saslow always does good work. We've got, alternate sound versions of a couple of these, new commentaries on all three of the features by David Melville Wingrove, new interview with Sheldon Hall on Cirque's career, and a booklet with a new essay on Cirque's early works by Tim Bergfelder.
When I say the 1950s were the best decade of movies, one of the things I'm talking about is Douglas Sirk's 1950s movies, those melodramas that give melodramas a great name. This, of course, goes back a couple decades prior. And I have to ask, are these the Kino Lorber Douglas Sirks that they did? Does anyone know? Are these already out from Kino Lorber on Blu-ray like a year or two ago? They did some early German Cirque stuff, and I can't remember what those titles were. But this is catnip for me in any case.
And this will be region locked B, so we got to get you that region free player.
That's exactly right. I need that player now. And Cirque in Germany, people, and there needs, they're not doing the U.S. release. Are they doing U.S. releases still?
They are. We're going to talk about one in just a minute. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I wish this was one, but alas, 'tis not. I'm looking over here in the comments. I guess carry on, and we'll see if somebody answers my question. I don't. Am I hearing a cat? Yes, you are. Deaf Crocodile, you would know. You would know what the cat sounds like. Good ear. And I'm let me let the cat out, and I'll be right back. And you go ahead with.
I'll talk about Dr. Vampire from 1990.
Is this coming in the U.S.?
This is only in the UK.
Okay, goodbye.
February 24th, only in the UK from Eureka, Dr. Vampire. This is one of the hopping vampires of Chinese legend. That is the Hong Kong side. It's also embraced the Western vampire tradition, like we see in Dr. Vampire. This one, we got a new commentary by the one and only Frank Jang and John Charles. New commentary by Mike Leader and Arna Venema. 2 new commentaries, and Criterion cannot get new commentaries. Come on. Then, otherwise, we got a new on-camera interview with Stacey Abbott, author of Celluloid Vampires, Life After Death in the Modern World. We've got Vampire Slaying 101, Remixing Monster Traditions and Dr. Vampire, new visual essay by Gothic scholar Mary Going, and then a limited book with new writing by East Asian horror expert Katarzyna and Kuda.
Boy, that's a lot. I like vampire movies. I don't watch them all the time or anything, but they're fine sometimes. Doctor movies, less so.
But if you want this one, you can buy the Golden Harvest set from Shout in the U.S., and you got this too.
All right, I'll just get that.
I agree with the Reservoir fella here. I love how they designed the syringe to go all around the spine there.
And it's quite suggestive, somebody points out. Is the syringe quite suggestive, Stan? I don't, I guess to each their own. I don't know.
I-
I'm being asked if I have a Panasonic UB820. Do I? I don't think I do. Is that region free?
No, that's the one that does the top menu trick for Panasonics. It's a
All right, hang
4K
on.
player. Oh, Jim, you're magnificent. Stan says he can't unsee it. I did not think it was suggestive, but now that you're saying it, I don't know.
It's UB420. UB420. Can that do anything? Can I?
It can smoke you out. That's about it.
Because it's 420.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Believe it or not, that's not my scene, people.
Let's talk about a Eureka title. It's coming to the U.S. February 17th on Blu-ray in the UK. And I don't know if this date is accurate, but I'm seeing January 29th in North America, so the U.S. and Canada. This is part of the Masters of Cinema line. This is Legend of the Eight Samurai from 1983. Another Kinji Fukasaku film coming to us. This one's got the uncompressed original Japanese audio and an alternate English dub on here. New audio commentary by Joe Hickenbottom. New interview with Kinji Fukasaku's son, Kenta Fukasaku. New visual essay by Stuart Galbraith IV. And then a collector's booklet with a new essay by Tom Mess. This sounds like it's right up my alley.
How many movies did Kinji Fukasaku make? I mean, it seems like
a shit ton.
There's so many coming at us all the time. And I'm glad that we're getting them, but it's like every week it seems like there's like 2 or 3 of them coming out.
Right. And Radiance has a bunch of them. Arrow put out a bunch of them. There's a whole lot.
They're saying he made 40 films. No, that can't be right. It's by my math, he must have made like 400.
Oh, man. What's going on, Steve? Good to see you. And yeah, good reminder from Chris here. Don't forget that Eureka has free shipping pretty much worldwide. I don't think they do it to some Asian countries, but other than that, free shipping worldwide. Even if you buy a $20 title, they'll ship it to you for free. How do they do that?
Well, they won't once the Trump tariffs take hold. I think get it while you can is what I'm saying. Get it while
pre-order now.
we don't know how or why Eureka Masters of Cinema offers free shipping worldwide. It's crazy. But if you're in the United States, get it while you can.
That is true. All right, 5 more things to talk about, and that's it. One is Severin is releasing 2012's Antiviral, the debut from Brandon Cronenberg on 4K. This is the first time it's been released on 4K anywhere in the world. This will have a 3-disc release, which includes the can cut. The 4K disc will have the theatrical cut, and then the Blu-ray disc will have the theatrical cut, a bunch of extras, and then the second Blu-ray disc will have the can cut with an intro by Brandon Cronenberg and the DP. There's a thermal camera test on there. There's a booklet on this, again, from Claire Donner from Miskatonic. There is some making of, some interviews, optional commentary for some of these deleted scenes. This looks like an incredible release for this film. Did you ever see this one? This doesn't feel like a Jim film.
Well, no, it isn't. Well, I mean, okay. I cast a wide net, everybody. I love those 1950s melodramas, yes. I also teach a university course about Star Wars, which I know you don't like so much. It's fine. It's not everybody needs to like it. And by the way, my class is not a fan. It's not about, it's about analyzing the phenomenon.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Antiviral. Is it a Jim movie? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I want to. I dig me some Cronenberg sometimes, but I'm talking about David.
Have you seen any of the Brandon films? Did you see Possessor?
Literally the other day when I went and bought in the same transaction that I bought this disc, The Farmer, the other day, out of that same batch at the same store, I bought Infinity Pool 4K Steelbook.
Nice.
And I chose to leave that out of my pickups earlier in the show, but I did get that too. I have not watched it yet. That one got past me the year it came out. So all that to say no. But I want to see this, and I've heard pretty good things.
It's a good movie. It's not his best, in my opinion. Possessor is still his best, but
Possessor, okay. I forgot about Possessor. I have Infinity Pool and this, and then I'll get this.
Possessor is exquisite. Very well directed, wonderful acting, great special effects. I mean, it's a Cronenberg, so.
Yeah, this is a cool one. I mean, and those extras. I mean, take note, Criterion. Look at that. Look at what they're doing with this thing. Holy moly! There's, Criterion's doing the old man Cronenberg stuff with extra, maybe a new thing here and there. This though, it's all new, and it's all Brandon Cronenberg.
I also really love the minimalist slipcover art here. Done really well with the 3D space.
And again, it's the Cronenberg body horror, that mysterious glop that that they're touching there. There's no telling what that is. It's not pleasant. We probably don't want to know. I'm guessing a little biohazard.
Well, yeah, this looks great. And now let's talk about a happy story. This one's called How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. Coming on December 10th from Wellgo USA, like we talked about earlier. This one sounds pretty great. This is Thailand's official submission for Best International Feature for the next Oscars.
Well, they can submit it. I don't know how far it'll go. How good is it?
I'd like to know.
It sounds good.
I want to check it out.
Cool. I don't know anything about this. How to make millions before grandma dies. What's with the ticking clock here? I mean, why do we need to do this? Does he need to impress grandma?
After his grandmother is diagnosed with cancer, a scheming young man moves in to care for her, motivated by a desire to secure her fortune for himself. Unfortunately for him, it turns out that winning grandma's favor is no easy feat.
If I didn't know better, I think you just read that, Ryan.
I'm pretty great on the spot, yeah.
That was a good summary of what this movie's about. Well, all right, folks, there you go. How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, a feel-good movie, courtesy of what label?
Wellgo.
Wellgo, our friends at Wellgo.
Thank you,
Wellgo.
Next from CineAsia UK is Black Dog from 2024, coming on Blu-ray in the UK only on January 27th. Now, I watched the trailer for this earlier because I had heard about this movie, but I never checked out the trailer. This looked pretty damn great. And then the last 6 seconds of the trailer has some incredibly questionable CGI, which it didn't ruin it. But man, how are you going to try to sell the movie and you put that scene in the trailer?
What's this? Is it a creature or
no? It's the dog standing on essentially there's a dirt road with a bridge that was going over a wash, and the bridge is gone, and so this guy goes to jump his motorcycle over the wash and shorts it and falls back into the wash, of course. And the shot that looks awful is, of course, the motorcycle hitting the edge and falling back in. And it's not carnage, but it is so fake. It's so just not great.
Well, folks, if that sounds good to you, which
the rest of the story looks pretty good.
My 19-year-old son, has this, I don't know, his generation, it seems like they just love to, latch on to something like that. Because, the hilarity of the badness of the CGI is somehow a selling point. I'm not saying they'd buy this disc, but they would isolate that clip from that trailer and circulate it among their friends and snicker for a day and a half.
Dallas says, imagining Jackie Chan and a horse on this motorcycle.
I don't know that we need to do that. It's this guy and this dog on a motorcycle. It's Black Dog, everyone. and maybe it's good. I don't know. CGI notwithstanding.
Last title of the week, let's talk about The Emperor Jones. This is from 1933, coming from Filmmasters in the spring from their limited edition line. This will have the murderous Brutus Jones escapes from jail and bluffs his way to becoming the emperor of a Caribbean island. Based on Eugene O'Neill's expressionistic play, the film stars Paul Robeson in the role he played on the Broadway stage. Brutus Jones is an unforgettable character, and The Emperor Jones is an American classic. You'll be able to get this from their site and Amazon eventually. It's a press disc. Will come with a slip cover. We'll also have a commentary and a booklet.
Well, that's some highfalutin whoop-de-doo going on here. We got Eugene O'Neill in the mix with Paul Robeson, who's, one of the greats of, Broadway, and certainly a notable film career as well. That said, I haven't heard of this movie. These Film Masters limited editions, I've yet to get any. I think was the one you did, the not Nicholas Ray,
Jack Arnold.
Jack Arnold, thank you. Was that one? Yeah,
it was not. It was not one of the limited edition titles.
Okay,
it was one
right.
of the regulars.
I did get that, and I haven't got to it yet. But I'm excited to do that when I get past award season and whatnot. This though, these how do we like these limited edition ones that they've been doing so far? Is it are they living up to the hype and branding and the limitedness of it?
Filmmasters really is. These are people that are putting their all into like 4K restorations of films that have only languished on terrible DVDs and like 5 packs of films that get squashed together on some old Mill Creek DVD from 2006. And they're looking great, good bonus features. Highest of praise. Filmmasters is great.
I want to buy them to support it on general principle, but of course I, like everyone, can't buy everything. So this stuff has sometimes not made the cut, and I wish it would.
Elusive, I get it.
Yeah. But that said, I see these Film Masters limited editions, and it's like, oh, that seems like it needs to be in the collection.
Well, speaking of things that need to be in the collection, I don't know if Jim has seen that we're going to talk about this tonight, but the last thing on our docket is the LeSure family fundraiser that is happening tomorrow. So a few weeks ago on Reconnected, I announced that a friend of mine that I only knew through physical media had passed away. He was Chris LeSure. I've known him through Facebook for 7 years, something like that now. And everybody here can have an opportunity to help his family out after his passing. Tomorrow morning. What's that?
This was his.
Okay.
Farmer. This was his. I bought this.
I thought that's what you were alluding to, but yeah, wanted to make sure. So tomorrow at noon Eastern, we're going to be turning on a page on the Brother Belial website that is going to be hosting 100 of Chris's titles. These were essentially hand selected by me from Chris's selection to make as this fundraiser. And they are some incredibly rare titles that you likely want in your collection if you do not have them already. And when I say that, I'm saying things that are like Evil Town VSA from Vinegar Syndrome, the long out of print Evil Town VSA. We're talking Criterion box sets. We're talking Mondo Macabro out of print 4K releases, the limited edition ones, of course. We're talking a lot of Second Sight, that's for sure. We've got the Enter the Video Store collection from Arrow Video. Lots of premium steelbooks. Lots of Umbrella box sets. These are going to be available tomorrow, like I said, and all of the proceeds from these sales will go to Chris's family. It has been a month of a lot of hard work behind the scenes for this, and one of the things I wanted to do was thank you in person, Jim, because you're the only one that was able to really get this done. If you are ever in St. Louis everybody needs to go check out Nickelflix. Dave, the owner, has been nothing short of amazing throughout this last month. Essentially, what has happened is I helped Chris's family secure Dave from St. Louis, being able to drive up to his house and buy this whole collection many hours away. We're talking 6.5 hours drive-ish each direction, something like that.
And it was.
Yeah.
It was a 14-hour day that was pretty grueling for Dave and Jeff. Jeff is the main employee there. Drove up, rented a truck. The family already had everything in boxes, so it was a quick load up. He said they were very, very nice, very, very kind. And of course, it's got to be so difficult for them to just do this. Yeah. Load up everything that was such a meaningful part of Chris's life and then see it go. But I know that it's going into good hands on the Nickelflix side. And it sounds like the Brother Belial side that's getting the stuff that Nickelflix did not, which, by the way, Ryan shared the pictures of me with what wasn't going to Nickelflix, and I saw some things that I was hoping in the back of my head, like, that it'd be great if that Second Sight Dawn of the Dead would turn up. Wanting that, and it'd be great to be able to just buy that from Dave at Nickelflix, because I get a lot of stuff there. I really, it's 5 minutes up the street, and my son works there now, and it's our local DVD hangout. I've met a lot of friends there at the store, just in the last few years since it's been around. I'm blessed to have the place. It's great. I'm just excited. I'm over the moon. I caught Dave leaving the store a few weeks ago after I heard you, Ryan, mention that this tragedy had occurred, and there was all this, the family needed a home for his collection.
Yeah.
I looked up how far away the town was, and it said 6 hours. I thought that's within the realm of possible for what he's done in the past.
Yep.
We worked together to make it happen, but it's, I didn't write the check. Dave at Nickelflix did. Nickelflix, by the way, does have a website. This stuff in the LeSueur collection. Am I saying it right? LeSueur?
Yeah, it's close enough. Yeah.
It's not on the Nickelflix website, but you can buy things online from them. It's not the greatest website in the world. It's actually kind of just,
it's very
very basic, but it works. You can buy DVDs on the website for $2.22 or Blu-rays for $4.44, and every once in a while you score it, and it's worth checking out that site and supporting this local St. Louis business. Now, I want to talk about the Brother Belial side here a little bit more. Is this did you say this was an auction or just?
This is not an auction. Essentially, what we decided to do was not sell it at retail, obviously, because this is benefiting the family, but we don't want to gouge collectors. So this is going to be less than eBay prices.
Okay.
It'll be a happy medium between eBay sold averages and retail. So there's going to be some titles that are literally $150 probably, but it's still going to be cheaper than you're going to find on eBay or secondhand or some other places that puts, they go on eBay, look at sold prices and add 10%. We're not doing that. We're trying to help out the family as much as we can, but also get these into the hands of people that care about these titles.
Right.
And again, I don't want to oversell the titles that are in this. I chose 100 titles that are extremely coveted titles. Silent Mandible is asking in the chat, is that Battles Without Honor Humanity box set the big one that's out of print with the booklet that goes for like $700 online? So two things. One, yes, it is. That is the box set that is going to be available tomorrow. But two, Silent Mandible has seen the pictures, because if you join the Disconnected Patreon, I've shared all the pictures of the items that are going to be in there tomorrow in my Discord. Stuff like that I will always share with the Discord so that everybody gets a heads up. I try to do my best. Again, lots of great stuff coming tomorrow. I know that this is difficult because they're expensive, and it's literally the week before Thanksgiving, the week before Black Friday sales, but it's also almost Christmas time. This is something that you can help a family in a really rough time. You can get a Christmas present for yourself if you're feeling like it. You can get stuff that's cheaper usually than secondhand. And the big thing with Brother Belial, free shipping after $100. It's owned by a rabid collector fan just like myself, so everything's going to come in a box with bubble wrap and truly loved. It will have its own section of the website. It is, as you'll see in the description on here, it has its own page. It's got brotherbelial.com/collection/LaFleur family fundraiser. But when you go onto the site tomorrow at noon, it will be the first thing that you see. It will be under the main banner. Brother Belial is out of Rockford, Illinois. That is correct. Owned by my friend Dustin Harvey. We worked quite a bit on this together, Dustin and myself, and Nickel Flicks. Everything that we did, I'm so grateful that everybody that stepped up and was willing to help. I had people drive to Chris's house from 3 different states, literally, to get this done. And I can't say anything better about this community other than you guys are incredible. I'm very grateful for friends that I've made throughout this, and I know that Chris would be honored to see that people are driving from all over the country to help his wife and his kids. And if you want to help by purchasing something tomorrow, noon Eastern, I would love to have something for your collection coming from Chris.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do check it out, people. It's rich merch for sure. And it's a great point that you make about support, in this time of Black Friday and capitalism run amok and sales coming out of the wazoo.
Right.
And we're all going to be tempted by this various sales that we see. This is a family that this is a good cause. What do I need to say it again? This is a good cause.
Just to throw out a handful of things that I didn't mention earlier to see if I can entice you. We've got the All the Haunts Be Ours box set from Severin. Everything Everywhere All at Once, one-click premium release from Nova Media. We've got the Evil Dead Groovy collection that went out of print quickly and is going for stupid money online now. The Criterion Zatoichi box set, the Ingmar Bergman box set, Drive 4K from Second Sight, the Angel collection in the hard box from Vinegar Syndrome, Night of the Demon Limited from Indicator, In Bruges Limited with the book and everything from Second Sight, the Sensual World of Black Emmanuel from Severin, a bunch of Umbrella hard box releases like the This Is Art collection for Terrifier, the Last Wave, the Pusher trilogy. There is so much on there. No, tomorrow it'll be on brotherbelial.com.
Brotherbelial.com at noon Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
And 100 rare out-of-print titles. Ones you didn't mention that caught my eye, those Vinegar Syndrome 5-year anniversary 5 film sets that all went out of print and sold out or are gone like crazy. There were some of those, if not all of those.
It's a really unique set of 100 releases that I think will make people very happy. And this whole thing was planned on purpose exactly like this so that we could give some back to the community. So please go check it out.
And if you're anywhere near St. Louis and you want to do a road trip to Nickel Flicks, that stuff is making its way out. I think he's made it through 5 of the 51 boxes of the rest of the collection. So far, it's making its way to the floor of the store. So hopefully by Black Friday or thereabouts, most of it'll be out there. He usually does a big sale on Black Friday. I don't know how many 20 or 30% off has been in the past. I don't know if he's going to do it this year. I assume he might. Probably will do something. Road trip, come to Nickel Flicks. Maybe you'll meet me.
And by the way, I didn't want to oversell this, but the whole Nickel Flick side of things, they bought more than 9,000 releases from Chris's family. And when we chose 100, there were still literally thousands that are worth a lot of money. There are so many rare and out-of-print things going into Nickel Flicks over the next couple of weeks. If you are in the area, you might want to check in like multiple times throughout the week, because there are some gems. There are hard to find things.
I've been going every day because I know they're it's eking its way onto the store floor every day since Monday. So yeah, every day I bought a few things. Standard DVDs are $2 there, and standard Blu-rays, non-high end, are $4. And a lot of it is just that kind of thing, studio titles and whatnot that just go out. So there's a lot of that, good deals on, and the discs are in the store. Everything in the store, if it's like, if they acquire it and it's scratched up or needs to be buffed, they take care of it. They'll put in a new case. It's like new, everything in the store is that way. Now, this stuff from this collection is already well loved, so you can be sure of that if you go to the Nickel Flicks store, or buy it by the LeRose stuff from Brother Belial. I think you can be pretty confident this stuff's going to be in pristine shape.
So to put a button on it, brotherbelial.com tomorrow, noon Eastern, Friday, November 22nd. That is 9 a.m. Pacific. And the site, if you are just listening to this after or not watching live and you're confused, brother, like as in sister brother, Belial is BELIAL.com. There will be a special section to it. That whole page is separated from the other titles. So one thing I will say, if you've never been on brotherbelial.com, go check out the website. There might be stuff that you're interested in now. Put that in your cart, and when this goes live tomorrow, you got stuff in there. If you find one thing, you're probably over $100, and you get free shipping right there. I mean, it's a way to support a great retailer that I'm super proud of what he's been able to build over the last couple of years, and support a family that is hurting. I mean, not to lean into the fundraiser aspect of this. This is somebody that was fairly healthy that just passed away suddenly. His family was not ready for this. And over this last month, when I was checking in on the family, because I've done it 10 plus times, Chris's wife told me, yeah, tonight was senior night for Chris's daughter, and she walked holding a picture of Chris. And that sort of thing just got to me, because the way he literally went to work and the kids went to school, and they never knew he was gone until they got home from school.
Oh boy. Oof. It's so rough. I mean, it really is tough to hear it, but that's what happened. And just thank you, Ryan. Thank you for stepping in and doing this part, engage this community and, pay tribute and help them out all at the same time. Thank you for doing that.
Appreciate it. I hope somebody will do it for me if it happens for me.
Me too.
Not to be morbid. I've told my wife, if you take my stuff to Goodwill, I will haunt your ass so hard.
Right. Yeah. No. It can't just be that. When I unexpectedly drop or something. Yeah. No. Please don't. We've got to. We've worked too hard for Goodwill, to get it.
Yeah, it's been a rough month to hold together with not only the election, but everything that I learned about with Chris. I mean, the day that I found out, his wife messaged me on Facebook, and was not expecting anything, and I thought it was just Chris. She had accessed his account and just happened to choose me to message. I don't know how. I started crying because I'd known Chris for so long, and I literally was walking out the door to it. Still, this gets to me. I was walking out the door to a dentist appointment, and I get in there, and they're like, "Hey, how's everything going?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm at the dentist, first of all, but second, it's a rough day. Let's get this over with." It was a bad afternoon, but
rough day among rough days. Yeah.
I miss Chris. If you'd like to support his family, please check out brotherbelial.com tomorrow, or Nickel Flicks in person over the next 7 weeks.
Well, then, yeah, you'll be supporting Nickel Flicks is what you'll be doing. But like I said, that too is You know, they've already bought the collection from the family, but it's a local store that, you know, he needs to break even, and, you know, all of that too. It's, you know, support local business is what I'm saying.
Indeed.
Even when
As
it's not local to you, it's local to me.
boost Jim's economy is what he's trying to say.
Please.
As always, after we get sappy and cry, we talk about next week's announcements. All of the OCN stuff is listed here as their retail dates. These are not actually shipping next week. These were mostly shipping already. But let's talk about how we got Paper Moon 4K from Criterion, Shape of Water 4K from Criterion, Hush 4K from Scream Factory, which is still one of my most anticipated. I'm stoked that got a physical release after disappearing from Netflix, damn it. We've got the Shawscope Volume 3, which I've seen a lot of people getting already. Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 4 from Warner Archive, which means that also that collection of 1 through 4 is also arriving next week. The Hunted 4K from Kino Lorber, 4K of Bug from Kino as well. Bones and All 4K from Scream Factory, the complete Thin Man collection, which I need to get from Warner Archive, Dragon Bruce Lee story from Shout Factory as well. Wide release of that Hatchet, the complete collection steelbook is coming out finally. Let's see what is next. The Story of G.I. Joe coming from Ignite. I believe that is a standard release of that one. Humoresque.
That's 1945 G.I. Joe. It's not Cobra versus G.I. Joe. It's
true. Probably should have said.
Yeah, it's a classic movie. Old.
Another one of my most anticipated, MXC Most Extreme Elimination Challenge from Discotech coming next week. Reminder, that's SD on Blu-ray because they cannot get HD out of that with how it was made.
Why do it then? Why not just do a DVD? Why make?
Because it will save space like crazy. You can fit way more episodes on a single Blu-ray disc than on a DVD, and it's more scratch resistant as well.
Yeah, good point.
Then we've got That's Entertainment from Warner Archive, the Alfred Hitchcock, the Icon set, which is a weird, interesting studios working together. 3 different studios contributed to that.
So what's going on there? Real quick, what Alfred Hitchcock Icon? There's been several Alfred Hitchcock like comprehensive collections out of Universal and whatnot. What's going on here?
This is Rear Window, To Catch a Thief, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, and The Birds, all on 4K together, which is super rare because those are multiple studio titles. We've got, I believe, Warner, Paramount, and Universal all in one box.
Wait, I thought they were all Universal.
They are not.
They're not. All right. Well, good deal. Hitchcock is evergreen.
That's hard to argue with. It's literally Hitchcock. We've got Fudo, The New Generation, the first Takashi Miike title on 4K coming from Media Blasters. A bunch of people already have that in hand. Wait till your father gets home from Warner Archive. Got delayed, actually.
Yeah. I was going to say that one isn't coming.
That'll be a couple more weeks. The Lonely Man from Kino Lorber. Mountains of the Moon from Kino as well. 1,000 Convicts and a Woman from Kino Cult. Number 1 of the Secret Service. That's one I need to get to. That one sounded great. That's another Kino Cult title. More Ultraman from Mill Creek. Battle of the Commandos from Kino. On the Road with Hope and Bing Crosby. The collection of everything in a box together.
Good. Yeah, the road movies. Yay.
Must Love Dogs on Blu-ray for the first time from Warner Archive. Revenge of the Zombies from Kino. Zizek's Road 4K, which you'll spend more on that 4K than it made in its theatrical run.
That's the beauty of it. They're finally going to turn a profit. No, maybe not.
Harrison's Flowers from Kino. Santa Claus from VCI. The Outcast Standard and deluxe shipping is still from Deaf Crocodile. That's the bulk of it. Anything that you are excited about that you don't already have that you might look into from this?
Well, plenty, but the main thing is my question's about Shawscope. I pre-ordered it from Amazon just because I don't love that I did that because I'd like to buy it somewhere else. But they were selling it for $112, which I know the scuttlebutt on Shawscope Volume 3 is pre-order that mofo because they're not making as many of it. And so I was like, I don't want to miss it. $112 seems pretty good. Can I do better elsewhere while I still have time to cancel my Amazon? That's a question for everyone, I guess.
I'm not sure, but one hot tip for tonight, and I'll take this off the screen while we discuss. One thing to look out for is to favorite a couple eBay stores. There are some places that I don't remember the titles of all of them, but there are many of them that have an always on buy two, save 10% type of coupon going on. And you can buy Shawscope and something that costs $10, and they still take 20% off of both. And so if Shawscope is already $115 on their website and you get $20 off, that's $23 off.
That's
So I'm not saying that you're going to find that for cheap, for that cheap necessarily. But here you go. Wave says, please rewind and Pop Market are two of the eBay stores.
All right.
That is my hidden secret that I say for a lot of these is if you go on eBay, you can, and sometimes it's 30% during like Black Friday, stuff like that. But just keep an eye on it because they shift their sales. Sometimes it's buy two, sometimes it's buy three. And so if you can find it when it's buy two, you can make out like a bandit.
I actually did find one of those. Blow It Out of Here, I think, was doing it. That was one of them.
Blow It Out of Here is now Pop Market.
Okay, Pop Market. I did that several years ago and forgot about it. Pardon me. I forgot about it. So, because things leave my head in weird ways because I'm old.
Been there.
But yeah, thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. I will check it out. And maybe while I have time to terminate, buy it from something better than Amazon.
Pretty much anything is better than Amazon. And God, there's so many times, especially recently with boutique stuff, people are just not getting it. It'll say it's delayed for like a month, and then they'll cancel it out of nowhere with you didn't do anything to start that. They just straight cancel.
Yeah. And people were posting today somewhere, I don't remember if it was on your feed or not, that Amazon had they ordered a new 4K disc and it showed up repackaged. And one of the discs in the set was just a CD with the label mocked over it, put in the case, sold new on Amazon. Apparently, this is what somebody posted, that they said this sort of thing is starting to happen where these bizarre repackaged fraudulent products are making their way out, and people thought they were buying something new and sealed.
Yeah, I had that probably about a year ago. I've not bought media from Amazon in quite some time, but there was, God, I can't remember what it was. It was something like a 2-pack of a studio title, something like that. And when it came, it was not shrink wrapped, and it was in like basically like a Ziploc baggie. And when you open it up, it is opened already. Usually, if it came with the digital copy, that is gone, of course. And then the disc, sometimes it'll be a 4K disc, or you were ordering a 4K and now it's a Blu-ray disc of the same title. And people will buy it on Amazon and then return something that's not that. And then Amazon will go, well, let's just sell it again. And people are getting away with it. It's crazy.
That's stupid.
It is so stupid. The whole Amazon Marketplace thing has exploded in a way that I don't think is going to be very useful for many of us for anything
going forward.
Yeah, especially for this hobby. Yeah, obviously, if you need dog food or something, that might be different, but who knows?
Chris Silvestri here says, I don't know if he's serious. Amazon sent me vase rocks instead of a Blu-ray I ordered this week. I mean,
I think he is serious.
You can't make that up, can you?
Nope.
Wow. Vase
Not
rocks,
at all.
You don't say. How do you even go about correcting that? I mean,
the best thing is I feel like Amazon will just believe anything you say. You could just say you sent me vase rocks instead of a Blu-ray when you got the Blu-ray, and how do they say no we didn't? How do you prove that?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, you can. I don't advocate, even though Amazon is Amazon. I don't advocate frauding. You do it. Defrauding them. back in my younger days, I'm not proud of this. I didn't have a lot of money, and I was getting into really deeply into collecting DVDs, and I would find, sealed copies of DVDs at used record stores for cheap, and then take them to like Borders Books or whatever, and they had a very liberal return policy, and I would return these things saying this was a gift, and in my head justifying it like, well, maybe the money I spent at the record store was birthday money, so in that way it is a gift. And I did that back in my youthful days. I would get store credit, like 5 times more, and then also get coupons off the internet to save 20% or whatever, and really, like all this found money, and go buy my Criterions that way at the Borders Books. And then Borders closed and went out of business. I felt personally responsible. It's been weighing on my conscience, and I'm glad I could get that off my chest tonight.
Well, I'm sorry that you have been in misery. Let's talk about Missouri.
Oh, misery. Right.
Jim, how long have you lived in Missouri?
All of it.
All of it.
51 years, sir.
That is a lot longer than me. I am coming up on next May. It will be 12 years.
Mm. And how do you like it? How do you like living in Missouri?
Well, it's better than my hometown.
Yeah,
but
the Hunter S. Thompson town.
Yeah, I mean, it's a low bar for sure. I like living close to a place that has like a center of the arts, which is rare when you live in the desert and high desert in California. It's okay. I think I'd prefer to be elsewhere, but trying to make the best of it.
Well, I've lived in St. Louis my whole life. Despite wanting to, at some point wanting to be a movie director or get into the movie business. When I was in my early 20s, it's like I could go to Hollywood, and I decided I opted for family and friends over it. And I don't really I don't regret that. None of what I have now would be possible. I'd probably be living, single and lonely and toiling my life away on movie sets in, chasing work around the country, because the movie business is no longer a hub in Hollywood like the old days. So goodness knows what my life would have been. That said, St. Louis, it's like we worship sports here. There's very little love of the arts in any palpable, really tangible way. It's a struggle. It's a struggle for, people in theater and fine arts, not to mention film. I mean, it's hard. Making a movie is hard no matter where you are or who you are. It's hard, but it's like St. Louis, it's like, welcome to the sports capital of the world. We don't care about anything, except that. And
beer, let's be honest.
Okay, beer, fine. Yeah, but it's not great beer. It's Budweiser. We've got that. Anyway, all that to say, I have a love-hate thing with St. Louis, because I think St. Louis, we could do better. We could do a lot better in a lot of things. So yeah, there you go. And that's my, and then the rest of Missouri, for gosh sakes. I mean, you and I are in the two progressive pockets of Missouri, and the whole rest of it is, it's
a different world, literally.
Exactly. It's a different world. Thank you. So that said, we're dead center in the middle of the country. During the Civil War, we couldn't make up our mind, and we're freaking neutral or both, depending on how you look at it.
The state had identity problems, and now
North
we're against
South.
identity problems.
Yeah, we still have it. We still have identity problems. So that said, there's interesting things about setting a movie here. I don't know that it's been mined in the way that perhaps it could be. It's our topic. Missouri movies, right?
It is. Before we get to that, one of the things that is exciting is some films that have been literally filmed here. You've been able to work on. You want to answer that question now? What films you were able to work on?
Yeah, like I said before, I alluded to or mentioned I was working in production, and there wasn't steady production here. So I had to wear many hats. When I wasn't working on a movie, I could be doing anything from swinging a paintbrush in somebody's kitchen to editing video freelance. And by editing video, I mean weddings, instructional video, you name it. I wasn't picky, travel logs, I did those. But what I did in the professional movie business, I was the set decorator. The movies you've heard of, there were several that never got finished, but the ones you've heard of are Gone Girl. David Fincher's Gone Girl I was the Missouri set deck buyer was my title. It was my job to drive around and buy set dressing for the sets. That's anything that isn't a active prop. The prop department is related but separate. Props are anything an actor holds. It's prop. If it's in the set, just like these books behind me, those would be considered set dressing, unless an actor is going to go pull a book off the shelf. That book would be a prop. But anyway, so things can blur. But that said, I was buying furniture. I was buying just you name it for David Fincher's Gone Girl. A lot of the furniture, a lot of the junk, even for the scenes they didn't end up filming. And they didn't film in St. Louis. They filmed in Cape Girardeau, which is 2 hours from here. It's a port town, and nothing looks like Cape Girardeau in America or Canada, which is why they had to film those parts of Gone Girl here, because Gillian Flynn, who wrote the book, is from Cape Girardeau, and she wrote it into her story. So, I bought a lot of the stuff. I'd sit there and watch the movie and be like, well, that's not where we shot this. They reshot that scene, obviously, but that's the cabinet that I bought at that thrift store or whatever. I could, So, anyway, it was working for Fincher is a pressure cooker.
Right.
A lot of set deck buyers and art department people get fired. I was determined to make it through the 3+ months of our Cape Girardeau shoot, and I did. And to my, it's like, even though that was one of the last movies I worked on, that was 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now, I did one more small movie that you wouldn't have heard of, a kid's movie about a dog. And then I kind of slowly stepped out of the business and leaned into being a film critic, and now a university professor of Star Wars comedy and cartoons. I worked on another movie called, did I get to keep any of the set pieces? Here and there on other movies. Nothing from Gone Girl. Well, I got some beer glasses that were not going to Hollywood. But for the most part, everything was supposed to go to Hollywood.
Right.
But from the bar, I got some beer glasses. But Meet Me in St. Louis, not filmed here. Let's see. But yeah, anyway, what Saving Shiloh, the third Shiloh dog movie, if you're familiar with the Shiloh series, I was a set decorator on that one. Much smaller in scale, but we still had Scott Wilson. We still had Ann Dowd in that movie. We would have had what's his name? Rod Steiger would have been in it, but he had just passed away when we shot that movie. I don't know. I worked on a lot of other movies that, like I said, some that didn't make it out. The one that had Luke Perry in it was called Alice Upside Down. It's a tween movie, low budget tween movie that has Luke Perry as the dad, Allison Stoner as back then she was 13 years old. She was went on to be one of the key voices on Phineas and Ferb. What you doing? That's her. We let's see what else who else was in that? Penny Marshall was in Alice Upside Down. So anyway, I don't know if that movie's viewable. It seems like the kind of thing that would be for free on Tubi or something. Mm-hmm. It's fine. It's not, these are not great. Most of these movies didn't turn out great. The Gone Girls was the exception. Up in the Air was shot here. All of it. I did not work on that because I was caught up in an editing job at the time that I couldn't get out of. Up in the Air with George Clooney, shot in St. Louis in summer of 2008 or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah, good movie. Right. That would have been another feather in my cap. How does one become a set decorator? Well, you have to know your stuff. I mean, it's everything from how to hang fine antique draperies to wiring electrical stuff in old houses, to power tools, to occasionally swinging a paintbrush, to all kinds of things. I mean, it's like you are a Swiss Army knife when you're in an art department as a set dresser. And then the decorator is the one who makes the decisions of what to buy and what to bring in. And then the set decorator answers to the art director and the production designer. There's that hierarchy, right? And anyway, I was a decorator. I was also an art director on some movies. There was our small budget movies. We did a horror movie called Tomb of Lygia? Or no? Was that the real one? No, it's just called The Tomb. Tomb of Lygia was the Corman.
Vincent Price.
The Vincent Price, right. It was that same story, though. It was that same source material. And from that, I had to commission, Lygia in that movie is her mad scientist cabinet where she keeps all her evil potions and everything. That movie, by the way, is terrible. We had Michael Madsen. We had Eric Roberts, who I did 2 movies with. Wes Bentley was in it. And I don't know, I'm going to turn my camera here, but you can see, for those of you on the video, there's a cabinet behind me right there. It's blocked by a cheap DVD shelf, but behind me is a cabinet. There's a snake eating its own tail on that cabinet. That's where I keep my horror movies. That cabinet is from the Lygia, the Tomb movie that we made. I had it commissioned. The back comes off and the shelves are all adjustable. So because they wanted to do the scene where the camera is behind it and she opens the door and you see through the cabinet to her, right? That's a shot in the movie. So I had to have it built for that. All that snake casting was custom. That's resin. Anyway, and the shelves had to be adjustable because I didn't know what they wanted to put in there or how high, so we just made it that way. Can you get Michael Madsen and Eric Roth to come to your bar mitzvah for the right price? Yeah, well, there you go. That's just it. That's why we had them, honestly. But yeah, Eric Roberts is a great guy, but yeah, he doesn't turn anything down. That is true. He's a good guy.
Real quick, the Cali kid wants to know what movies from 24 do we like? I'm going to answer it real quick. Nora, The Substance, and Last Stop in Yuma County are my 3 favorites so far.
I'll say The Substance, Seed Sacred Fig, and I can't think of anything else right now. I've watched too much. My brain's mushy. Anyway, yeah, the cabinet. I brought that home. You want to see what did I take home from a set? That is a big acquisition.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, I was happy. It's like the stupid snake cabinet from the stupid movie that no one saw. There you go.
Paul wants to know about how many items do you think are in your physical media collection?
9 or 10,000.
On that note, Missouri movies. This was more difficult than we anticipated. Why was it difficult?
Because this topic sucks. I wish I didn't suggest it. I last week you guys did Appalachian movies, and I thought, it's like I had, a suggestion or two, the best of 2024, which we're being asked about. That was a suggestion, Ryan thought, well, let's do Missouri movies since we're both in Missouri, and that's when I suggested. I was like, well, we're both in Missouri, we could talk about Missouri movies, and then we started to look into it. I guess you making your list and me making mine independent of one another. And we don't know what the other guys picked, but it's like, this is, I don't know, maybe it's slim pickings, maybe it's not. Let's just see where it goes.
Well, and we had mentioned to each other, it's kind of interesting because you can choose, stuff shot in Missouri, stuff set in Missouri, or the best of both worlds, stuff that is shot in Missouri that is set in Missouri, which does not happen all that often.
No, that's the gold standard here. But we're just winging it with what we wanted to do. Ryan in Kansas City, me in St. Louis. This is the only time that I know of that there's going to be a Missouri guest on a Missouri show in Missouri.
This is the I-70 series of physical media. That is correct.
That is what this is.
All right, sir. We're covering 5. What's the first one you want to talk about?
Oh, jeez. Let me bring up my list. All right. I got to take my glasses off to see my phone.
Our friend Spaghetti in the chat says there was a 90s hospital movie filmed in Kansas City called Article 99 with Ray Liotta and Kiefer Sutherland. He says he was born in the same hospital years before.
Well, good enough. That's my number 5. Never heard of it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with, let's go with Soderbergh's King of the Hill. That's a good movie from 1993. Steven Soderbergh. This is available on Criterion. It's one of the overlooked Soderberghs. It's early in his prominent career as a director, and it's a nice story which hits hard when it needs to. It's got Spalding Gray in it, who is, Soderbergh made documentaries about. He, plays a role here that stays with you, but mainly it's a story of a boy living like back in the 1930s times, and it takes place in St. Louis, and yes, a good bit of it was shot here. This was a little bit before my time in the St. Louis production world, but I know people that worked on it. And yeah, King of the Hill, you guys, very kind of undersung. I don't want to say unsung, but undersung film that's just solid and pretty darn good.
Soderbergh's amazing. I mean, that's an easy way to sum that up. I cheated for my number 5 because it's easy to cheat on because neither one of these feel like Missouri, but I feel like they should have been mentioned at least once, and I don't think you're going to mention either of them. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Good movie.
It's not on my list. It's decreased in.
I would agree there.
In my opinion, I saw it when it came out and was like, it's good. And then something in me, as the months and years went on, was like, I'd think of it and be like, wait a minute. And now it's been so long since I've seen it that I don't even know why I feel that way.
I figured I may as well pair this with something to take the taste off of that, because I agree it's kind of fallen into steam for me. I just want to mention it's hilarious to me that Escape from New York was filmed in St. Louis.
Oh, right, yeah, that's I know one or two guys that are still in the business that claim to have worked on that back then in 1980. And the funny story about Escape from New York being filmed here, St. Louis, was in a downward economic place in that time. And the story goes that well, okay, most of us are probably familiar, at least from movies or whatnot. New York, late 70s, early 80s is a, bombed out, wastoid, 42nd Street, trash everywhere. It's New York, and and people romanticize that now, but it looked pretty rough. Well, apparently for John Carpenter and his futuristic sci-fi New York movie, that version, the real New York, then just wasn't seedy and trashy enough. St. Louis was where they had to shoot that movie to really get that grittiness that they really needed for this sci-fi prison trash, forgotten, neglected world. And they put in, as giant set dressing, a crashed passenger plane, right? And that plane was downtown, and apparently, there's all these stories that somebody thought that, it was in the plane went up, and I guess somebody who'd been drinking saw it and told the local newspapers that, plane crashed downtown, plane crashed downtown, there's a crashed plane. And I don't know what kind of traction that got in the press, but, of course, the tall tale version of it is everyone went nuts, Yeah. Big shootout at the Chain of Rocks Bridge at the end of the movie. The car crash scene, that bridge is still there. It has a plaque commemorating it. And of course, everyone and their brother claims to have been there for the shoot.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, sir. What's your next one?
I don't know. All right. My next one is, let's go with options for us. Movies that take place in Missouri, of course, is every Jesse James movie ever made.
True.
So I decided it's going to either be Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford or I Shot Jesse James by Samuel Fuller. Let's go with the Fuller, because Andrew Dominic, who directed the Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford,
what a mouthful,
also directed that god-awful distortion of Marilyn Monroe a few years ago called Blonde.
Oh, Blonde.
It's an atrocity. It really it's a hurtful movie. And he made that out of apparent hurtfulness that we gleaned from his interviews and whatnot about the movie. Blonde. Now, that said, Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is a beautiful movie, and it's great. But because I'm still pissed off about Blonde, this is my prerogative, I'm going with I Shot Jesse James by Sam Fuller, 1949, available in the Eclipse early Sam Fuller set from Criterion, the Eclipse set, one of those Eclipse sets on DVD. And yeah, it's just, it begins cool. Like, if you've never gotten into Sam Fuller, man, his stuff holds up. He's got a visceral punch in his work. The book Three Faces that came out posthumously that he wrote is a great read, guys. Sam Fuller. I Shot Jesse James is my number 4.
Nice. Mine has, most of the movie is not shot here, but one of the more memorable scenes is shot in St. Louis as well. Had to go with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, that's a great pick. Yeah.
This is literally like one of the most fun scenes shot. Lambert is in
Lambert.
all kinds of films.
Yeah.
It's a very iconic airport, even though it's not the biggest, but for Missouri, it's pretty big.
I worked on Lambert. We worked on The Informant, the Soderbergh movie. And we worked on, Rachel McAdams and Tim Robbins coming back from the Iraq War in the mid-2000s. What was that movie called? The Lucky Ones. The Lucky Ones. Yeah, we did that at Lambert too. And they go to like 4 different airports in that movie. Lambert is all of them. we it's like, okay, now they're going to the Las Vegas airport. We pulled some slot machines off the truck and dressed it's Las Vegas. Anyway, because like they say, the reason so many things are shot at Lambert here in St. Louis, when you're not flying planes, you got to do something. Take that Hollywood money.
Oh, St. Louis. Yeah, if you haven't seen Planes, Trains in a long time, go back and watch this scene. It's a very obvious set in Lambert scene, and they talk about it ever so lightly. Great movie, obviously, one of the classics. Yeah, it's
the scene where Steve Martin gets stuck at the desk with what's her name? Edie. I can't remember the actress. They say he's a righteous dude. Her from Ferris Bueller, and it's her and Steve Martin, and it's the F word scene.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. So Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, your number 4. My number 4, let's say
this is your 3, I think.
Oh gosh. I almost made this longer, heaven forbid. I'm going to make this Edie McClure. Thank you. I'm going to make this my number 3 not because it's inferior to the other movies I'm going to mention, but because I can't remember what parts of it take place exactly in Missouri. And that's Bonnie and Clyde. They tear through Missouri in that.
Yep.
I don't know. It's been too long, but if I have the chance to sing the praises of Arthur Penn's 1967 new Hollywood masterpiece, Bonnie and Clyde, let's do it. Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway, Gene Hackman, Gene Wilder. What do we want? This movie rocks. And it seems like it's kind of slipping away into the mists of time, as things tend to do as time goes on, and pop culture, our pop culture hindsight narrows. We lose certain things. We just let certain things go that maybe we shouldn't.
Absolutely.
Bonnie and Clyde feels like one of those to me. It feels like nobody's talking about it anymore. And so I'm going to talk about it. I just did. My number 3, Bonnie and Clyde.
Great. Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde 4K would look great.
Please. Yes, I would. I'm all in.
Number 3, we are leaving Kansas City and St. Louis for the first time, I think. Going to Columbia, another very small liberal stranglehold, with You're Next, directed by Adam Wingard, who I believe is from Columbia. The whole thing filmed, and I don't even think they mention Missouri, but it's pretty clearly Missouri where it was. It is a great movie. I love the whole home invasion aspect. Very well acted, fun cast. It's a fun movie. I mean, everybody watching has probably seen You're Next, so I don't need to say much. I love You're Next.
Not me. I didn't get around to it. I do own it. I bought it at Nickel Flicks for $4. It's in the snake cabinet. I haven't got around to it yet. I know I need to I was unaware of the Missouri connection because when I started looking at these lists, of course, You're Next was all over them.
Yep.
And I went, doggone it. I needed to watch that movie. I knew I should have watched that movie before this.
That and I think it's don't know if you've seen this because we've never talked about this. The first VHS film, I think one of the first.
We don't talk often enough.
One of the segments from the first VHS, I believe, was filmed in Columbia too. So that's another one that people talk about.
Do they? Okay, I'll take your word for it.
For Missouri, yes.
Jim is my only hope. For what?
He said, "I know it should be number 1. I hope one of you pick it. It will not be Ryan."
Oh, good Lord. I'm probably going to let you down.
So now you have pressure, Jim. What's number 2?
I think I'm going to let him down.
I know I'm letting him down.
Okay. Number 2 is The Outlaw Josie Wales. Again.
That's what he wanted at number 1.
Did he? How do we know that?
Because I know Craig.
Oh, well, maybe I didn't let him down. Well, my number 2 is Outlaw Josie Wales, and it could be number 1. I'm not saying that's a better movie than Bonnie and Clyde. I think Bonnie and Clyde's a better movie, but for Missouri stuff, I think that's got more Missouri representation. It's great. It's just maybe not as great as Bonnie and Clyde, in my opinion, but it's still great. And it's Clint Eastwood. This is 1976. Philip Kaufman wrote it. Clint Eastwood directing. Am I right? For some reason, I thought it was Phil Kaufman directing it.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's been a while, but anyway, all that to say, somebody made this movie and it was good, and it's a fine Western, and it's got levity, but it's also got a lot of tragedy. Better than Bonnie and Clyde. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, Eastwood directed. Thank you. I have it on my notes that Eastwood directed, but I was second guessing myself because I know Philip Kaufman was prominent in the process. My gosh, I just love it. I watch that movie and then I end up kind of talking like this for tonight. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, it's it gets under your skin in a good way.
I need to see it. I need to subject myself to a bunch of Eastwood one of these months and just drown in Eastwood.
Outlaw Josie Wales. Yeah.
Very different from your number 2. My number 2 is a film that was released during COVID, directed by local Kansas City director Jill Gevargizian. That is The Stylist. And really only chose this because it is Missouri through and through. Like,
Ooh.
there are so very many Kansas City landmarks. There are so many Kansas City things that are visible that you even recognize, like prominent hallways in downtown buildings. It's that recognizable. It's a really great movie. It's a modern set slasher that is about a hairdresser that scalps people, and it's a really fun. That's all I'll say. Arrow directed it, Arrow released it on Blu-ray a couple years ago now. There's The Stylist.
Oh yeah. Arrow, sure. Okay.
Yep. And there's a interview with Jill on the channel if you want to go check it out.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I probably listen to that at some point because I like your interviews.
I appreciate that.
If you're done with that one,
I'm all done.
all right. I'll throw out a few runners up if you don't mind, real quick. These
All
are both movies I worked on that I haven't mentioned yet for the Sci-Fi Channel. If you ever get the chance to work for the Sci-Fi Channel, maybe don't. This was, independent productions making, it's not for the Sci-Fi Channel per se, but my gosh, it's like there's a budgetary threshold that they have to stay under in order to, get the tax credit back then to shoot in Missouri. And anyway,
Right.
So everything was low budget by design. And plus it's like, at that point, the Sci-Fi Channel nonsense of kitsch for the sake of kitsch and Drek for the sake of Drek had kind of kicked in, right? So the movie is Black Hole. Not that Black Hole. This is Black Hole with Christy Swanson and Judd Nelson from the early 2000s, 2004, I want to say. I've never actually seen it. But I lived it. I worked on this movie. We shot it in the weeks leading up to Christmas that year. It was less than 0 degrees outside, shooting downtown, these action scenes of Judd Nelson driving this truck to stop the black hole portal. One of those scientists, they did a bad thing in this movie. They opened a black hole, that kind of thing in space that devours galaxies and crushes matter in seconds or
Smart.
less. Okay, they did that under the arch down in the riverfront, right? And the black hole was wasn't sucking in anything, but it was going to. And instead, of sucking in everything in very little time, which in reality would happen, a monster jumps out of the black hole. A CGI monster ran around and it feeds on electricity and it's killing everybody. So anyway, Judd Nelson had to figure out how to stop that with the help of scientist Christy Swanson. Judd Nelson, what a handful. He quit that movie multiple times while we were filming it. We had to go find him. At one point, we were in an elevator together, and somehow it came up that he and I have the same blood type. And my friends were like, don't tell him, now he's going to come after you for that. Anyway, it's like the Sci-Fi Channel miscalculated this movie because they failed to realize, yes, we have a CGI creature that's in the budget, but that black hole swirling around the whole time is also a CGI element that is basically the same cost of generating back then that the creature was. So we had two creatures, so it took an extra year for the movie to materialize. Anyway, that's Black Hole, a great Missouri classic on the Sci-Fi Channel. The second one, and this is half the budget of that, because the producers of this next movie, Showdown at Area 51, for a time, the most watched film on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Hell of a claim to fame for you.
One, it's the guy from Dazed and Confused. Is it Jason London? Jason London was the guy in that movie. He was nice. And Gigi Edgley from Farscape. These people had better places to be than St. Louis. The premise was Area 51 in Nevada is a hoax. The real place, they just kind of let that out there that, so UFO nuts would go there instead of the real facility, which is St. Louis.
Brilliant.
And it was disguised as a park ranger station. And you go inside and it's all high tech, right? We shot that at the MSD, the Metropolitan Sewer District control room. So every day to film the control room set for both movies, by the way, was at MSD. We had to walk through literally walk past over bridges of vats of shit, to get in there to film the shit, So anyway, it's that was the experience of the budget of Alien versus Alien was half of that of Black Hole because the producers decided that they were going to make two movies for the price of one. And the second one did not get filmed here. So anyway, those are two for you there. Two great shining classics: Showdown at Area 51 and The Black Hole. Our runners up. I've seen Showdown at Area 51. Woo!
And they're runners up. I love it.
That's a good take a shot every time something crazy. I could tell you stories about the making of Showdown at Area 51 for a couple hours. There's a part in that movie. They drive this antique muscle car, right? And the guy who owns the antique muscle car was the guy who was in charge of all the set vehicles. So he was like, I've got a car you could use for the movie. I'm like, don't volunteer your own car, man. And sure enough, there was a mishap. There's a scene in the movie, it's a car chase, where the truck's chasing the car and Jason London driving the car, and they're tearing down a park road, and there's a blockade, a barrier.
Oh, no.
Now, we built this, I didn't build it, but we had, I know the people that built it. I won't call them out by name. It wasn't scored properly. It was built of gator board, and built to be driven through. Now, they tested it at their wood shop out, with a box truck driving through it. Well, this is a car. It's a different kind of height. And, so when the car crashes through the barrier, the two wooden A-frames on either side that hold the gator board, block, wood thing, the car hit it. The two frames flew on either side of the car and dented the doors badly to the point where the doors could no longer be closed. And of course, the movie shot out of sequence. So sometimes Jason in London pulls up in the car, and the doors are inexplicably bashed in. And there's a scene where they get out of the car and run into a house, and he closes the door and runs into the house, and the door just falls open. And they cut some, So anyway, the poor guy. It took him years of hounding the producers to finally get them to put in a proper insurance claim on his car and get that paid for.
Jeez.
Anyway, Showdown at Area 51. Sorry about that, everyone. That was
worth it. That's what that was.
Okay, good.
I'll since you did that, I'll just mention my number one because it'll be quick. We've already talked about it tonight. I truly love Gone Girl. I think it's a fun film. Fincher is great at what he does. I think it is excellent addition to his filmography. Maybe my favorite from pretty much everybody that's in that film. There's not much that I like from them that's other than this movie. Great movie. Very, very St. Louis movie. It is
very, very Cape Girardeau.
Yes.
There is scenes in St. Louis, though.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, I wasn't involved with. Hardly anyone was. They just kind of came and did them.
That's funny.
Neil Patrick Harris's house is actually in Cape Girardeau. That was an addition to the schedule. They were going to just figure something out in LA. And then this amazing house was discovered in Cape Girardeau. And Fincher was all about it.
Nice.
So we filmed the house there. Although I think in the movie, the house is located in St. Louis. So they did an exterior here for that and an exterior of a casino. But the interior of the house, everything but the bedroom, and you know what scene I'm talking about for the bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
that was not filmed in the actual house. The bedroom was a set in LA.
Of course.
They did later. Fincher notoriously does a lot of takes, and I can verify that. They spent an entire day just shooting Neil Patrick Harris driving the car up the driveway and getting out, and then again driving the car up the driveway and him getting out. The members of the St. Louis crew who didn't understand David Fincher or who they're working with, they're like, "Who is this guy? Why is he making him do this 99 times? This is absurd. I mean, this is all we're doing all day is driving a car? Give me a break." Anyway, they soon learned. And by the way, no talking on set of any kind.
Wow.
Silence all the time. And that's hard. That's
hard.
I mean, when they're not filming, if you're not, you can talk then. If you're away from the action and all. But if you're on the set and it's active, you better be quiet between takes, and that's not normal. Anyways, the bedroom scene was built on a set, and the wardrobe people in Cape Girardeau were prepping. They were like her underwear, which is seen in the bedroom scene. They're like, and of course it gets covered with blood, and they're like, well, he's only got 17 takes at it. That's all we got for the customized underwear.
Right.
He's got 17 takes. It's like,
gotta love Fincher.
Ordinarily 17 takes ought to be plenty.
Should be plenty.
But for him,
that's a low side, yeah.
Maybe not. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Gone Girl.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Thank you. It kept us fed for 6 months.
Good. So what is your number one?
One that I couldn't find on any of the lists. Michael Mann's Manhunter is one that made a great impression on me. It's the end of the movie. I love Manhunter. It's probably my favorite Hannibal Lecter movie. I just love the vibe. I love what Michael Mann did with it. It's Red Dragon, for those who don't know. It's the book Red Dragon, made before Silence of the Lambs, circa 1985. It's got that, neon 80s dark vibe about it that just works, with the actor from CSI, William Peterson.
Tom Noonan. Yeah.
He's so good in this. William Peterson is like weirdly captivating.
It's his best role by far.
I think so. To Live and Die in LA is great and all, but
it's close, but he's better.
Yeah, he's better. In Manhunter, it ends where, he's going to find the killer and he has to go to St. Louis. And I had no idea that was coming. I was watching the old Anchor Bay DVD back in the day. It came with the, evidence envelope with trading cards in it and everything. I have that. I was watching that for the first time ever and on my own. And lo and behold, it's like St. Louis, Missouri. All right, we're going. and they go and they, there's a scene at a newsstand where it's full of St. Louis newspapers and everything. I don't think they shot that here, but it sure looks like they did. I was impressed. And then, of course, they go out into the sticks and find the killer's house, and they can shoot that anywhere. It's smashed through the window with iron butterfly, blastingly loud. It's so cool.
It's one of the most memorable scenes of the movie, too.
It stays with you, and it's a St. Louis movie, even though I don't think anything was shot here. I mean, clearly they sourced some stuff for the newsstand, but man, I feel like they just kind of did it right in a weird way, which is more than I can say. I have not seen the movie Identity Thief with Melissa McCarthy. Have you?
I have, yeah.
They say that takes place in St. Louis?
If I remember right, I believe it's at least mentioned, yes.
I saw a screen grab of the supposed St. Louis riverfront in the movie Identity Thief. It ain't the St. Louis riverfront, people. It's like they CGI'd in the arch in I don't know, Cincinnati or something. It's hard to tell. It's like that ain't St. Louis. It's like comedically absolutely wrong. And of course, only those of us who live here are going to know that, live here or from here. But anyway, that just goes to show the kind of latitude and the kind of respect they show us. But Manhunter is one that I feel like did it right.
I adore Manhunter, and funny enough, perfect segue to have me promote something.
Oh, please.
As of literally last night, I recorded an episode of the Directors Club podcast with the wonderful host Jim Laskowski that's coming out next week on Michael Mann. Spent a long time discussing Manhunter and all of his films. There's something special about this movie, and I don't know, it's one of those movies that I've always called like a sandpaper movie, where at some points it feels like it's moving against you. But in that way that it's moving against you, it grabs a hold onto you and will not let go. This is one of those movies that is sweaty in the right way. It's real. It's definitely something that feels like, this is obviously a make-believe movie, but it's something that I could see all of these decisions happening realistically. And because of the performances and because of Michael Mann being a damn good filmmaker so early in his career, because this is, I think, third feature.
Something like that, yeah. It's early, and it's so confident.
Exactly. I mean, even like the wheelchair scene, which so many people see as the most iconic thing from this, you could have easily made that iconic just because of what the scene is, but there's something special about how he films it, that the colors grab a hold of you. This is the sort of movie that lays onto you and doesn't let go for like 5 days, and you just can't stop thinking about it. I adore this movie. The music's incredible. Every performance is amazing. It is like almost as good as Silence of the Lambs, just in terms of quality, and I prefer this movie. And for Michael Mann to do that as film number 3, goddamn.
Silence of the Lambs is astonishingly good. Yeah. I don't know that this is, note for note better than that, but for me, I just love Manhunter. That said, where are we at on physical media with Manhunter? Where is there a
out of print Blu-ray from Scream Factory? Yeah. Nothing else since then.
Like Vinegar Syndrome or somebody needs to make what they do, give it the Congo treatment. You know?
I would love to see this get like one of the big umbrella boxes. This is something that you could get new interviews with a lot of people. I feel like Michael Mann would love to fucking talk about this right now. Even you could get so many new extras for this movie. Give us something amazing.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. Somebody needs to make Manhunter happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it's cooking somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. It's such an obvious go-to release, I think, that it's gotta be in the hopper, right? Come on, guys.
Well, and as a Michael Mann, it'll look gorgeous on 4K if and when it ever gets that.
If and when. Well, fingers crossed that it happens. Yeah, I know everybody's talking about the keep and all that. I'm going to say it one more time. Manhunter!
Jim, we spent 4 hours talking about announcements, Missouri movies, what's going on at Brother Belial tomorrow, and I just have to say thank you for staying awake. I know it's late. Appreciate you. This is so much fun with people like you. I appreciate the stories, the everything. Glad you're here.
Well, I thank you for the invite. You'll probably never have me back.
I mean, probably not.
Ate up. So, yeah. So this will be goodbye. I'm going to go feed my cat, do some dishes, and then crawl into a hole and be forgotten forever. Good night, everyone. No, no, seriously though. This is always great. I love this. I love the show. I've said it before, but just listening to this on the replay, it's a highlight of the week, in a weird way. It's like and it takes me forever to work through one of these episodes, because people like me come on here and just yak. But no, it is fun, and you've really cultivated something special. So, well, the Cali Kid says please have him back. Oh,
all right.
Waiting for Guffman was in consideration as well. I will say
on my list as well.
Yeah.
It's a great.
Okay, all that said, thank you and good night.
I'm going to end it right there just because it's funny here. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.